kids. It's time to get some SML podcast all up in that.
You were born ready?
Yeah.
You don't have the Skype auto reply to fall back on?
No. So I have to actually try to sound like I'm an interesting person.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
The nerve to have to be yourself. Who would have thought?
Have you heard this voice? I don't want to be myself.
Be yourself. Yeah. Everybody, you can teach the kids lessons in being ourselves. You know, that's the way the world needs more of that.
Anyway, what's up, everyone? This is the SML podcast. I am your host, Joe. Joining as usual, Cole and Pernell are here.
Mm-hmm. The special edition episode with extra wet pancakes.
Hooray!
Wait. First of all, why pancakes and why are they extra wet?
Well, I mean, they're normally wet anyway, so now they're just extra soggy.
No. I guess if there's syrup involved, possibly, but no. Pancakes aren't wet. Pancakes are fluffy, not gooey. That's a whole nother dessert dish.
Well, you're going to have to talk to Norg about that because he's all about the wet pancakes.
Norg, I mean, I wouldn't call it water.
He dips them in gin.
I wouldn't call it that either.
Piss? Nah, that's just gross.
Look, I like how innocent Pernell is. That's adorable.
I know. He's so cute.
Like, piss and alcohol is his go-to when the rest of us are like, come.
I was trying not to say that, but I don't think I'd want it. I mean, first of all, no. If I were gay, I wouldn't want jizz on my pancakes. That just ain't cut. I'm not.
A whole different kind of whipped cream right there.
You would need a lot of jizz too. Like think how much syrup you use, and then equate that to jizz, and then think of how much you get per usage.
Sounds like a doctor's necessary here, or you just collect it and bottle it.
Just wait, let it ferment.
It just makes for a particularly special breakfast.
And send it to George.
Like, what do you want this for? I'll pay you $200 a bottle. Here you go.
Oh, God.
On the way. I don't know what you want it for, but if you're going to give me the money for it, shoot, we're done. I'm not even going to sterilize it. You can just have it.
Think of all the Game Pass Ultimate you could buy.
This is true. Which, funny enough, I actually did buy that.
Oh, you picked up Ultimate?
Yeah, I'm sure you know about the reason why, what the deal was.
You convert your gold and your Game Pass to Game Pass Ultimate. Exactly.
And it was convenient because, as you probably know, I've been kind of off the, Live X PSN club for a while now. So I'm like, I don't play games online enough. So a friend and I are about to start playing a game called Hammer Watch. You might have heard of that one.
Yep, we covered it.
It's a good one. They finally put, well, it's not finally, we just were sleeping at the Switch, but it has online support now, so we got that. And I was like, he's like, well, actually, you need live for that anyway. So, hey, since you're about to renew your live, here's this cool deal. You can play Void Bastards with it. I was like, hey, now we're talking. But of course, due to the fact that the deal required me to have more on my Microsoft account financially than I had stored, I had to also buy a gift card on top of it. So I got like $20 sitting on this system. I was like, oh, what do I want to buy?
Well, you should listen to the SML podcast and pick up some of the games that we review.
Well, what if I reviewed it?
Well, then pick up ones that Cole reviewed.
A lot. I review a lot.
That is true. Well, whatever your favorites in your review column were, those will be the choices. The items of choice.
But you got to keep it under $20?
Yes, about $20.
My first go-to 2 games to tell somebody to play are both in Game Pass, so that doesn't affect your $20.
Well, it does, but it does provide some sense of value for the Game Pass. It's like I recommend these games, but they're already in your possession. 2
of my very most favorite games are in Game Pass.
What are they though?
Silence, The Whispered World, and The Flame and the Flood.
Yeah, Flame and the Flood is great. It is a pain in the behind, that's for damn sure, but it's good.
I'm only missing like 2 achievements, and it's because they were glitched, and I just haven't had the time to go back and get them now that they're fixed.
Is it possible to complete it?
Now it is, yeah. It wasn't.
Well, it wasn't before?
But it is now, yeah. It was the achievement for not eating any animal products for 40 days in an endless run was glitched. That was a hard one to find out didn't work. I
wasn't talking about like achievements though admittedly that is still something interesting to hear. But I mean like the game, can you get to the end of the river?
There's an endless mode, but there's also a campaign. And the campaign you can get to the end of the river.
Okay.
If you survive.
Yeah. Probably won't because I've played some of it. I guess I forgot about the campaign part, but I've played some of it and that game is brutal.
Yeah, endless mode is a true roguelite. You die, you're done. But the campaign actually has checkpoints and you can save at the islands and stuff. And I need to let the cat out because he's carrying on.
That mittens is going off.
So, Pernell, what's your thoughts on Game Pass now that you have it?
Well, I'm going to be realistic here. Game Pass as a product is awesome. It's just a general statement here. I mean, I know what games are on there. It's a good product. As a Pernell, though, and I was telling my friend, I was like, I don't know when I'll ever get to use it because even before I started doing reviews for SML, I had a backlog that goes back in infinite distance. And
generations. It goes back console generations.
It really does. Really does. So take that, and then now that I got this option to get all these other free games, it's like, well, I'll probably always focus on the games I've already spent money on or games that I'm reviewing before I move on to that. But it does benefit me in the sense that I have a friend who doesn't have a ton of money but likes to game, and we play co-op a lot. Now we're both on Game Pass, so we'll both have the same games by virtue of that, at least. So I can be like, hey, I want to play this, and you happen to have Game Pass. Let's just boot it up. So it's a convenient way to link game libraries in that sense to say we have the same options to play with each other. So
that is a good way to look at it.
I'm going to use the hell out of it with that in mind. Like just being able to say, hey, I want to play this game with you, because you'd be surprised or not how often I'll want to play online with a friend. Like, hey, I got this game. I need somebody to play with me, and no one has it. Yeah. So it's like, I spent money on this awesome co-op game, and I'll never get to use the co-op mode. So, but not with this. I'll have these options. Yeah, buddy. So I can genuinely appreciate it. I don't know what the normal cost of it is, but this deal made it very sweet.
Game Pass is $10 a month, and then Game Pass Ultimate is $14.99 a month, but it includes Game Pass. It includes Game Pass for PC, which is another $10, and then it includes Xbox Live Gold, which monthly is $10 a month. So you're getting all that for $15.
So basically, you're spending $5 for the Game Pass component if you buy Ultimate because you're getting your Xbox Live through it too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or you're paying $5 for gold.
That's not bad, actually.
And then you still get Game Pass for PC for free, technically, because it's another $10 if you buy it individually.
And what happens if your PC's a turd?
No, then you can't play that many games.
Yeah.
But there's 100 to pick from.
You want to play Uno? We got that.
I was genuinely surprised at how many games even my PC can run, and it's not state of the art by any stretch of the imagination. Like, it was outdated 4 years ago, and I just bought it 6 months ago.
Well, it helps that a lot of the hot games, at least in my opinion, a lot of the hot games that are dropping that aren't AAA are retroized, so they're not pushing the envelope by their intent. They want to look, more 16-bit or early 32-bit, And it works out to our advantage. It allows our computers to work longer than they were intended to. Because even now I'm looking at getting a new computer, but it's been so long since I've shopped for one that I don't even know what constitutes a good computer anymore.
No, me neither.
Oh, I definitely know what's a good one. I just can't afford it.
Yeah, that's the other part that'll suck when it comes time to actually do understand, and I won't be able to afford it anyway. It's like, well, that's the end for me.
But speaking of things we can't afford, should we talk about E3?
Yeah.
Why the heck not? I will say,
How's that for a segue?
Speaking of being broke, E3. Like, honestly, I hope to go next year, though I'll admit that this year, while there has been some good news dropping, I don't think this would be I think next year will be the year to be there.
Probably.
I think that will be a boomer. Because you got to figure
the new consoles.
Because we got the teaser for the new Xbox this year. But next year,
let's get to that. We have all of the E3 to get through. All the conferences, well, most of the conferences. I missed the Ubisoft one, and I don't care about the PC showcases that they have. So
I didn't even know that was a thing they did.
Yeah, a whole bunch of press conferences. Shall we start at the beginning?
It all began when I was in diapers, and they weren't the good diapers because we couldn't afford those things. My diapers consisted of paper mache and some sort of weird outlawed glue.
This is going to be a long episode.
And that's the worst part. I'm going to be on here the longest next to you, and I'm like, let me extend this a bit because clearly I'm insane.
Yeah, because this is Wednesday, so it's a review. Or no, this is going to be on Thursday because we can't put it up on Wednesday because we're on Twitch on Tuesday. Complicating things. Yes, but the episode is going to be out on Thursday, so that's, it's normally when you would be on for reviews, but those will be later that you're going to have to stick around for anyways. So the longer that we take, the longer you're here.
My suffering won't stop.
Never. So, Xbox E3 press conference started off with a new look at the Outer World, which is looking pretty good.
Yes.
So give some details on that, because this will be a prime example of something that Pernell's like, what the heck?
Fallout in space.
Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
So, would you say that it looks like it will make up for some of the stuff that people didn't like about our recent Fallout offerings, referring to 4 and 76?
I don't know. I think they're just going to be aimed at different audiences because it's more geared towards a sci-fi audience instead of like a hardcore nuclear Fallout audience.
I can see that, yeah, because that's honestly both a good thing and a bad thing about the Fallout games is that while I enjoy interacting with all the crazy NPCs and whatnot and the survival aspects and finding cool stuff, it will always be a drab atmosphere simply because it takes place, well, in a nuclear Fallout or post-nuclear Fallout. There will be no shininess or colorful aspects to it.
No. The Outer World's looking pretty good, though. You should check out a trailer on that one if you haven't.
I am going to need to do that, but
you're going to have to check out a lot of trailers, man. There's a lot of shit to talk about.
That's the thing.
Most of it's good shit, too.
That's the funny thing. I was talking to a friend about it earlier, how I was like, all of my E3 information I've got so far has been like bits and pieces. Like I'd catch this thing, or a group of people would like start posting their favorite end results to like different press conferences. Like, for example, the Xbox one, I know about the system talk. There was a game that a friend mentioned that has me very intrigued, called like 12 Minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
You're just jumping all around the press conference.
I almost feel like I should just let you roll with it, because if you don't, I'm going to just start talking about stuff I know about, which could be well out of order.
I like took notes in order as the show progressed, and Pernell's like, fuck you, I'm jumping an hour ahead.
Look here, you're talking about 1 minute? I'm talking about 12 minutes. No time for that.
You're talking about Xbox? I'm on Square Conference already. Crystal Chronicles, motherfucker.
That's what I do. I'm a rebel, Dottie.
Oh my.
I hope people get that reference.
Because they don't. God, we're old. And they should be older. They should be older. That's the goal. But so that case, I'll let you run the gamut. That way I don't throw us off track.
Yeah, but yeah, The Outer World looking really good, coming out October 25th. And the cool news, Game Pass at launch.
Yes.
Day one, it is on Game Pass.
And I do like the sound of that. That's the other thing about Game Pass that my friends and I were talking about. Apparently, a lot of upcoming games, like expected upcoming games, are going to be hitting Game Pass, which also puts quite a bit of value on it. Because if it's a game you already intended to get, would have run you $60, $20 if it's an indie, most likely. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about that cost anymore. You only have to worry about being afraid of buying a bad game. You'll find out firsthand because you can play it for free.
Yeah, and we'll
34 games
from the press conference
are
Game Pass.
Are Game Pass launch day Game
What?
Pass.
Yes.
See, that's slick stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Highlights?
Eventually.
We'll get to it. Eventually, true. After that, they brought out Ninja Theory to talk about Bleeding Edge, the 4v4 melee combat game that they are working on. A technical alpha is going to be starting on June 27th. And as most games we're going to talk about, Game Pass at launch.
This one, I feel like the outrage on Twitter from the leaks and stuff kind of affected the way they approached the conference, because they were like, they were outward as far as like, we've been working on this for a long time, but we couldn't afford to finish it. Yeah. and Microsoft saved our asses. And it was kind of a shame that they couldn't just come out and be like, look at this fucking shit we did and it's awesome, when they felt they had to explain themselves about why they made it.
Yeah. The game doesn't really do anything for me, but I will give it a shot because, hey, Game Pass at launch.
Yeah. I'm gonna play it at least once. That's basically my opinion about everything we saw, though, is like, I'll play that at least once.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the trick, though. I mean, like, if you didn't have it on Game Pass, you'd have to toss around the thought in your head, like, okay, I can only afford, like, these 4 games. And of these 34, these are the ones I want, and the others are just going to have to deal with not being there. But being on the Game Pass, you can try them out. Though it always bugs me in the sense of wondering, how do they get the money? Like, you develop all these games, and it's like, get it for free on this service we offer. How much is the service? Like $10 a month or so?
I have to imagine Microsoft is losing money on it, but it's about getting people into their ecosystem and playing Xbox games.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Hook them. Okay, you like these 100? Well, try these other 2,000 games that aren't on Game Pass.
Pretty much.
Like, how risky is it to let somebody play a game for a month or so and fall in love with it, and then maybe they would buy the DLC when they otherwise wouldn't have even played the game at all?
Yeah,
that's a good point too. With the game has DLC, that becomes an option of an additional sale. And given if a game could have a bunch of DLC, results in, I don't know, possibly some cases you can get more money out of that than they just bought the game.
Yeah.
Though, at the same time, though, I will also admit that if a game has that much DLC on it, I'd be a bit on the anxious side. So,
I mean, look at Elder Scrolls.
It's like, for the cost of this game twice, you can get bonus content for the game.
But I mean, honestly, though, look at Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls is on Game Pass, and it's just got a disgusting amount of DLC.
It's on its, third expansion? Elsewhere?
Yeah, I think third. I don't know. When I downloaded the collector's edition, I had 7 items to install.
Damn.
So, and I didn't even pay attention to nitpick what they all were.
Yeah, Elsewhere's the third expansion because I have the original Elder Scrolls Collector Edition, I have the Somerset Collector Edition, and then I have the other Collector Edition that I can't remember the title of. But I have statues for the 3 collector's editions they released, and then they didn't release a physical collector edition for this one, so I feel lost.
Rude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, consider how many people who might not have ever touched Elder Scrolls and then got really into it playing it on Game Pass, and it was like, well, fuck.
I'm buying the expansions.
I didn't have to buy the game. I might as well get some DLC for it.
This is just going to be like a 3-hour commercial for Game Pass, isn't it?
Probably.
No, we gotta. Well, it depends on the games that we discuss, how long we discuss them, but it doesn't have to be. We can talk about the game that isn't on Game Pass, maybe, if one such a thing exists. I don't know.
Are there any?
Eventually, but the next game that they showed was Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is coming out February 11th, and yes, it will be on Game Pass at launch.
So we're talking Ori, a sequel to Ori and the
Blind Forest.
Title's alrely looming. The Blind. Yep. Oh, it is Blind Forest. Okay, I feel better. I'm like, Blind Forest? Why the hell do I think the forest is blind? What is my deal? What's my problem with vision?
Yep, but that is the sequel coming out next February.
That is good then, because I liked Ori and the Blind Forest, and I want to say there was a second one that I never got around to.
No, they just released a definitive edition of the first one.
Yeah.
With some modifications to the game and good stuff.
Buggers.
Yeah.
In that case, then, I didn't miss anything, and I'm looking forward to the sequel because I liked the first one quite a bit.
Cole, I know you're looking forward to it.
I absolutely am. I'm so glad to finally have a release date for it. Although I was kind of mixed feels because I was like, well, we have a release date. But I was like, oh, it's February.
It's so far away.
It really is. I was so hoping for, and you can play it now. And you can't.
Yeah, that was your big dream for E3.
That was. That and Peggle 3. And I got let down on both fronts.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Anyway, after Ori was Minecraft Dungeons, which is going to be coming out spring 2020. I know when they first talked about it, it was announced for Windows 10. It's coming to Xbox as well.
Yes.
And
so give me some details on this Minecraft Dungeons, because that sounds like it's up my alley.
Minecraft Dungeon Crawler RPG.
But being that it's Minecraft, it gives me the impression that you're building the dungeons or some component in the dungeons.
No, it's just a straight up action RPG from what I've seen.
It just has
with the
Minecraft
graphical style
look, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm already intrigued by that then, because I like the Minecraft look and I like beating the tar out of monsters in dungeons. What's not to dig?
And it will be on Game Pass.
The way that they described it was that they felt like combat was the one biggest aspect of Minecraft that they could improve upon. And so they made Minecraft Dungeons as a spin-off so that they could fuck around with the combat in Minecraft and see what they could do.
Well, guess what? I don't have to pay for it because I got Game Pass now. Suckers! wait, you guys have it too, don't you?
Yes.
Yes.
I have it for like 2 years. I'm built up.
Would you be surprised if I told you I want a code for Game Pass Ultimate for a year today?
Not at all.
You know, they did on Mixer. It was like Major Nelson, Larry Herb, his Major Nelson podcast. Well, they streamed it from E3, and they had this giant ass Game Pass Ultimate card. And they just peeled the number off of it. And whoever typed it in fastest got it.
And you got it?
I got it.
That's cool.
There were other people in the chat going, yeah, I got it. And I was like, clearly somebody didn't click confirm. Because, bitch, that's mine.
Oh, my Lord. So you're...
Just from converting, I was already good until May 2020. And now I'm good until May 2021.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the sweet stuff. You're going to forget what renewing the account is like. You're going to get this weird email and think it's a scam. What are you talking about?
Speaking of a scam.
How are you doing this? How are you getting the... Speaking of sandwiches.
Speaking of a scam, thanks so much, No Time for Game, for subscribing to us on Twitch.
His name is No Time for Game?
For games. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh. Hanging out in Twitch chat.
That's why he has no time for games.
Subscribed for 15 months in a row. No Time, you are awesome.
That is really nice.
That is impressive and depressing at the same time, because even I haven't been subscribed like that.
Oh, stop it.
I think I've been subscribed for like 4 months. It's not even consistently.
Hey, at the end of the day, the guy's doing it. Hopefully he's getting something out of it. Let's just keep doing what we do.
All the time for wet pancakes. He knows what's up.
God,
stop it!
You will be getting some lovely new sub badges soon.
No, Jesus.
Joe's dead. He can't tell you, but I made sub badges today.
Yeah, they'll be up later.
So enjoy when you get it.
My life, and now I regret it.
You said, speaking of sandwiches, if it had been me, I would have been like, speaking of dicks.
Speaking of dicks, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order had a gameplay trailer shown. That's coming out November 15th. That's looking pretty good. I'm not normally into Star Wars stuff, but it's looking like a solid game. Yeah,
Star Wars, that's the sort of thing where I'm definitely just holding out until the time comes, because it's where the talk of theme comes up a lot, where a game can be great, but if it's based around something that doesn't interest you, it might still be hard to just say, I want to get down with this. And Star Wars has always been that theme. Like, the only Star Wars game I've ever played and just outright enjoyed, despite not liking Star Wars, was that one for the N64 many moons ago. And I think that was mostly out of desperation because there was no games on the system. So I can't really I can't remove that experience and confirm whether or not I still like the game or not, because I'll always have that experience. And unrelated but related, holy crap, I just saw a game that's on Game Pass that I've never heard of in any fashion, and I'm downloading it right now because it looks ridiculously adorable and voxel. You ever heard of a game called River Bond?
Oh, that one just released this week.
That's why I'd never heard of it then.
Which we'll be getting to in a little bit.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm just spoiling everything.
You are.
Look at me.
Son of a bitch, Pernell. What are we going to do with you?
Give me River. That'll shut him up.
We'll be reviewing that, I don't know, Cole, next episode or in another
Yeah, probably
week?
Next one.
Okay.
Time's the thing.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't expect any reviews from you tonight. This is just Pernell.
Yeah, I know, but still, time's the thing even this week.
Pernell show.
Anyway, after that, they showed the trailer, which I know you were excited for, Cole.
Uh-huh.
Blair Witch.
Yes.
What?
Is getting a game, and even better.
I mean, maybe my memory of the Blair Witch is a little off, but where's the game? There was like one adversary that you never saw was the actual witch.
I don't know, man. It looks scary as hell. It's from Bloober Team. Are you familiar with them?
Mm-mm.
Layers of Fear.
Okay, that I know about Layers of Fear. That game is creepy as balls.
Yeah, they're making Blair Witch, so I have faith that this will be a scary game. And best of all, Game Pass at launch.
Yes.
I'm waiting for the one where you're like, it's not on Game Pass. We'll have to be excited because of how rare it'll be.
Oh, that'll be the next one. They showed off Cyberpunk 2077, which looks phenomenal.
Look, I've seen a lot of shit about Cyberpunk, and I was still very flippant about it. I wasn't exactly breaking my neck to be excited for this game. After seeing that trailer, I'm here.
That's the game where, I kid you not, I've been almost intentionally dodging it, but I already know I want it. It's just one of those games where it's the presence that it provides just does the work for you. And yet, then they mentioned the whole Keanu Reeves thing, which shouldn't bother me. I should not even care that he's in the game, because he's just a character in a game. The game will tell whether or not it's good or not. And yeah, here I am like, Keanu Reeves in the game. I'm looking forward to that now. Because Keanu Reeves is such a friendly guy. And he's getting more work. What's not to like? Like I look at it from this odd practical perspective. Like, he deserves work. And the fact that he has this job indicates that the people who hired him are probably good people too. I like this. I want to support their endeavor.
Hey, I want to support him too. And the collector's edition of it looks insane. It looks really, really cool. Big ass statue.
Does it come with an actual Cyberpunk?
No, not a living one.
That sucks.
Bad faith.
The bad news with Cyberpunk, though, is we have to wait all the way until April 16th of next year.
Yeah, that's the downside.
Still much sooner than I was expecting.
My fingers were crossed that we would get a holiday release.
But it does make me wonder.
I was expecting like holiday next year. They will be like, it's on Project Scarlett. Fuck you.
They should just call the darn system Scarlet, and for the first time ever say the code name is the actual name of the machine. Didn't see that coming, did you?
Hey, I'd call it the Xbox Scarlet.
If it were like a deep burgundy maroon red color too. Oh, that would be awesome.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
Yeah.
I concur. I'd be all about that noise. And it almost would be funny. It would almost be like them saying, hey, look, you were all confused about the Xbox One name because it was too much like the other one. Well, guess what? Now this is called the Scarlet. There's no X's in the entire word. And it's not a black system. It is not a green system. It's Scarlet. Like the name. You can't mix them up. Like, just go all in on the ridiculous. Like, we're a whole new Xbox, but we're also the Xbox you love. We're both. Just come on in. Play this majestic Scarlet box. You'll adore it.
Oh, Lord. After Cyberpunk was Spiritfarer, Cole, what did you think of this one?
I'm so psyched for this. Like, it's going to gut me in the emotions and the feels and everything, but it is such a cool concept. This is, it's so hard to explain because it's
help me out. Try
2D and almost kind of cartoonish, but you play as a ferryman who helps people cross over and deal with death.
Ooh.
So then you collect things and build up your ferry, and it's so emotional.
I think it's funny because as you describe the game and my limited knowledge of the game, as in what you just told me is the knowledge, it could go like one of two ways. It can be like Papers, Please, where the whole game is just, I only can carry 5 people across this river. And there's 20 people here. What do you want? Well, you see, my lost daughter's on the other side of the river, and I haven't seen her since her passing 40 years ago. I miss her. All right, what do you want to cross the river for?
To get to the other side.
To get to the other side? Well, can't argue with that. Get on the ferry, buddy. You're going across. Wait a minute. Like this really weird, like, ferry sim game. Like, what is your job? I'm the ferryman. I just carry people across. Then I got stories, but I'm all about, just getting my ferry ranking up. I want to become a master ferryman. This is my goal.
Oh, man.
I would play any of those games, by the way.
I know you would. You would review them, too. But
damn right I would.
Spiritfarer, I trust is in good hands because it's from Thunder Lotus Games. You know them from Jotun and Sundered, which are both quality titles, so I'm sure Spiritfarer is going to be good. And best news about Spiritfarer, Pernell, tell us.
Is it in black and white film noir style?
Game Pass at launch.
Oh, that's also good.
That's also a positive.
That too is a positive.
After that, they showed some gameplay footage of the new Battletoads, which looked really, really cool. A lot of people aren't really on board with the new style. I thought it looked good. I thought it looked cool. It looks like a playable cartoon, and it's going to be a 3-player beat-em-up, which is what people want.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the thing I found hilarious about that, because that is one thing I did see. And I'm not sure about the listeners on the show, but I think at least you probably know that I am notoriously not a fan of Battletoads, like the NES game or whatnot. I have my reasons, but point stands. So when I heard Battletoads on Xbox, I'm like, let's just watch the trailer so I can trash talk it or whatever. And I went and booted it up and I'm like, this actually looks entertaining to me. I could see myself playing this game. It looks fun. It's very cartoony. And from my recollection of the original game, they had cartoon animations when they did certain moves, like the giant boot, the giant fist. So it seems to be in line with the theme. So I was really shocked when I went and read the comments after and was like, what the hell is this? This isn't what I want. This isn't the Battletoads. I'm like, what are you talking about? The Battletoads haven't been on a machine since the Super Nintendo. Unless you consider that, I think they were like in a fighting game as a cameo, wasn't it, recently?
Yeah. Rash, I think, was in Killer Instinct.
Yeah, it's like, aside from that, which even still, that is so far from what Battletoads represents, it's not even funny. We haven't seen them on a game. So I'm shocked to see them saying the Battletoads wouldn't be a cartoony franchise. Like the hell they wouldn't. Yes, they would. Though I will say that someone caught a glimpse of the Dark Queen, or we all believed it was the Dark Queen, between minute 58 and 59 seconds into the trailer. How they caught that, I have no idea. Because even when I knew it was there, it took me multiple scans to find it. But when I saw it, I'm like, I can see people being upset about that. Because that's not the Dark Queen. That's a teenage angst kid. Like it was not what I expected. But that's a small nitpick. That's not representative of what the game would be. That's just, she's not sultry enough or whatever. So I personally, as a person who do not like original Battletoads, am looking forward to seeing how this one goes because I'm actually interested. It looks good to me. It looks cartoonish.
Well, you know what? You will be able to try it because it'll be on Game Pass at launch.
I'm still waiting. Gabi's like, everything's on Game Pass. It's if anything, it feels like the E3 presser alone did the job of selling the darn product. It was like all these games are getting them for free, and they timed it well with the deal too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, just set it up right now.
It's like they planned it.
Mate, what a shot! Well, they got me on because while we've been talking, I've downloaded 3 games off Game Pass.
Nice.
I did not expect that, but I'm enjoying what I see here.
Yeah, there's a lot of good games on there. Like I said, this is going to be a 3-hour commercial for Game Pass. After that, they showed The Legend of Wright coming in 2020. I honestly don't remember a thing about this one.
The Legend of Wright?
Yes. Cole, do you remember?
This one either. No. Yikes.
I feel like a dick now.
Yeah.
Maybe I made it. Was it a fever dream, maybe?
Maybe? Did I go get a snack or something during this time? I don't remember.
Legend of
It may well
Wright.
it may well be all in your head.
Oh shit. That's the hand-drawn indie RPG. Oh my god, how did I forget about this one?
How is Wright spelled?
Wright.
Oh, right. Right!
The Legend of Wright. This is the one that it's like all done in notebook style and like cardboard cutouts and stuff like that.
I still don't remember. I feel like an ass because I don't
Just
remember.
Google it quick.
Honestly,
as soon as you see it, you'll be like, oh, it's that one. This one looks incredible.
Well, I've seen 2 seconds of it. I already want it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
This...
Yeah,
I
this
feel
one
weird
looks...
about watching it on the show. Like, what are you doing?
Needs a better name.
Like, yeah. No. I get why it's called Wright and everything. The name is fine. This is good. This is the kind of stuff I want to see out of games these days.
Yeah, that one
This
looks
shit
awesome.
looks weird. Like, they took a concept of a game that's been done to death, just, typical RPG, action RPG or whatever. But the level of style that's coming off of this thing, I want it. Like, it looks amazing. This is the type of game where it can release and be mediocre. Like, this is okay at best, but the style would push it. And that's just me saying that, and it's just saying, I don't even know what it could be. This could be a fantastic game, and the style going along with it, I'm sold. And it's not even out yet, but we'll see when we get there. But I like the idea behind this.
Yeah, unfortunately, it won't be out till 2020. That's the only date we've gotten, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of that one.
I concur. Give me more games like that.
Well, I'll give you more games because they had a sizzle reel of the ID at Xbox lineup. They showed videos of Pathologic 2, Star Renegades, After Party, Tabs, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, which looks ridiculous, The Good Life, Crosscode, Creature in the Well, Killer Queen Black, Riverbond, Unto the End, Blazing Chrome.
Sorry for cutting that. I wanted to catch you before you moved on. Did they mention the release date for Crosscode during the sizzle reel? Nice.
Nope. Not that I saw. Blazing Chrome, Felix the Reaper, Undermine, Supermarket Shriek, Secret Neighbor, Eichenfell, Lord of the Rings Living Card Game, Night Call, and Totem Teller. And Pernell, every fucking one of them. Game Pass at launch.
See, that's nice. I tell you, that's the kind of stuff I like to hear. It makes me feel good to have made this purchase that I recently made because it's going to probably get put to use.
One of those games at launch goes right into Game Pass.
Like, jump right on and see what all the fuss is about.
Yeah.
Just boot it right up.
Not only that, but they added a shitload of games to Game Pass E3 day.
Mm-hmm.
Like 25 games, something like that.
They added them?
Yes, to Game Pass.
Huh. Whoa, I just noticed they put Just Cause 4 on here.
Yup.
Yeah.
Was that one of the ones they added today?
No.
No, that's been there a while. My husband's been playing it.
Ain't that some pickle bun?
The ones that were added are ACA Neo Geo Metal Slug X, Astroneer, Batman Arkham Knight, Battle Chasers Night War, Borderlands Handsome Jack Collection, Bridge Constructor Portal, Everspace, Guacamelee 2, Hollow Knight Voidheart Edition, Lich Spear, Metro Exodus, Momodora, Reverie Under the Moonlight, Moonlighter, Neon Chrome, Old Man's Journey, Riptide GP Renegade, Riverbond, which released that day. Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun, Shenmue 2, Silence, Smoke and Sacrifice, SteamWorld Dig 2, Supermarket Shriek, which released that day. Thimbleweed Park, The Turing Test, and Wizard of Legend, all added to Game Pass.
And I can honestly state, you've named a lot of games that I am actually familiar with, and all of the ones that I am familiar with are good games.
And they're all in Game Pass.
That is a good setup. And also, I have seen video of Supermarket Shriek, so thank you for saying that, because I am now downloading it. Because that game looked hilarious when I saw the trailer for it. If I remember correctly, it was mentioned in like an indie reel a month or two ago. And that was where I originally saw it, because it was like a goat in a shopping cart or something.
Yeah.
I want it, and I'm going to try it for free.
Yes, you are, because you have Game Pass. Speaking of Game Pass, this is when they announced Game Pass for PC. They announced that it began that day in open beta. It is $9.99 a month, but during open beta, it is $4.99 a month, or you get your first month for $1. They announced a handful of the games that are showing up, like Imperator Rome, Football Manager 2019. Eventually, Halo Master Chief Collection will be there. They showed a hype reel of a bunch of different games that are going to show up. Then they talked about Game Pass Ultimate, which includes Game Pass for console, Game Pass for PC, Xbox Live Gold, $15 a month, which we covered already. Because, again, this is a 3-hour commercial for Game Pass.
Yep.
Dear Lord, there's got to be some other games we're not thinking. Like, now the Xbox is done. Well, we're all sleepy now, so now we're done.
After the Game Pass talk, they showed a trailer for Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Unexpected.
And it looks insane.
Yeah.
Wait, is it an actual flight simulator?
Yeah, it's a brand new Microsoft Flight Sim.
Like from the old PC days?
Yes. Real.
That's kind of shocking.
Not one of those joke simulator games. This is a real one. And it looks jaw-dropping. Like, some of the footage that they showed, it looked real life.
Yeah.
Now, beyond the visuals, though, I mean, we got to remember, it is a flight sim. Do you see yourself playing that specifically because of how good it looks, or?
I see myself trying it for one major reason.
What's that?
Game Pass at launch.
Yeah.
Done. Well, then.
How bad could the achievements possibly be?
Land a plane.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
good luck.
Hearing that, yeah, pretty much it's like Top Gun was. But that's the other thing. I couldn't even think about achievements and stuff in that regard. Just, again, looking at this list of games that I could play on this Game Pass, I'm not sure how often they shift or refresh or whatever, but I couldn't keep up. Heck, that game I reviewed a couple weeks ago, For the King, it's on here. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, if you didn't listen to that episode, that game is a freaking gem. So you can play it for free on this system. You should just do it. It'll be great. But, whew, oh my God, I'm legitimately surprised by some of the games I see on this list. We need to talk about other stuff from E3, because I'm just going to sit here and be flabbergasted by the options I've got if we don't.
Well, next up, they showed some footage of Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, which will be on PC Game Pass at launch. After that was some footage of Wasteland 3, which looks bonkers. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
That's a game I didn't even expect to come down the pike. 'Cause I see Wasteland 2 generally get re-released on a number of systems, but I never hear anyone talk about it, even though to me it looks like it's an interesting RPG.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass.
At launch.
Wasteland 2's already there. So you can play that one.
Big shock.
And then was one of the big mic drops of the show. Matt Booty comes on stage. We know him from being one of the guys who talks about all the companies that they've acquired. And they got a new acquirement or acquisition. That's the word.
Acquisition of Mentasticular.
Double Fine joins Microsoft.
Now that one there, that is surprising. So I gotta give you some context on this. So as you know, when it comes to SML, you're the big Microsoft guy, and I'm the big just whatever games are out there somewhere. Now, as a result, I wasn't following a lot of the conferences or anything like that. I was kind of just wandering around and see what I would come across. And I don't know how I managed to miss this detail, but I didn't learn about it until this afternoon. The whole thing with them getting Double Fine. And then my friend was like, oh, and you know what they said? You know what they did a trailer for on there? And I'll let you say that because I know you have it on your notes there.
Yep, they showed off a new trailer for Psychonauts 2.
And I flat out said, done. To me, that's the game of the show. All my friends were gushing Nintendo stuff. And I said, there's like, look, I like it too, but none of that shit's Psychonauts 2. So you can all suck it. And no one got what I was talking about. I was like, well, clearly, if you don't know what Psychonauts was, or clearly is, since we're getting the sequel still, you're missing out. Because I actually played Psychonauts 1 really recently. We're talking like in the last 3 weeks. It still holds up. It's still entertaining. The humor's there.
I'm pretty sure it's playable on Xbox One, isn't it? That's one of the OG backward compatible games.
Yes, I was about to say it's a yes and no because my friend has Xbox and he was asking if he's like I hope they get a remaster for it before the second one comes out, and that's when we learned that they didn't get the Xbox for whatever reason didn't get the remaster of it. They got, but it's the original one is still available on backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
but now I was telling given the circumstances, I would not be surprised in the slightest if they do some kind of remaster, even a better version of it for this system. Because I can't imagine them not doing that. But
so I'm guessing you like Psychonauts too?
Yes. I watched the trailer for that. Again, something that I generally don't do so much. I'm not big on trailers unless it's just being sociable, chatty chat stuff. But I chased that trailer. I watched it, and I smiled. I was worried I'd be kind of disappointed in it, thinking, here's just some kind of cash grab. And I'm saying, it's Psychonauts or whatever. But you can see it, the soul of the company is still in the creation of that game. Yeah. The humor is intact, and it seems like it's a natural progression of where the plot left off on the first one all those years ago. So I am ready.
And the best part?
Is it not in black and white?
Game Pass at launch.
I'm ready then. And no. That's not the best part, though. It is a good part. Unlike a lot of the other games we talked about on here, that bad boy said 2019.
Did it?
The trailer did at the end. It said 2019.
Nice.
Which means I can look forward to that Joker before Christmas.
I didn't have that in my notes. I wonder if they didn't show that during the Xbox trailer.
That's the only... I mean, maybe they had a second trailer, but the one I saw at the end, it said 2019.
Yeah, that's cool then.
Also, I'll tell you another little funny thing related to Double Fine. So, at one point, we know what happens when companies acquire other companies, regardless of the industry. There's usually a bit of concern about, oh no, why they acquire them, or how long do they have before their soul sucked out, or whatever. You know the deal. So, my friend, who knows I can get a little naysay about these things, sent me a video that is out there on the internet. It's a really short, like a minute long, and I guess Double Fine, the guys at Double Fine made it, and it was Tim Schafer narrating, going, so, we started Double Fine. We like the idea of making games, blah, blah, blah. And he goes to this point where he says, so, at one point, Microsoft just came up to us and said, when Microsoft came to us and said, would you like a bunch of money? Would you like a bunch of money? So we said, and he just stopped. Like, there was no, would you like a bunch of money to whatever? He's like, Microsoft said, would you like a bunch of money? And we said, yes. Yes, we did. And that was the whole video. Like, this makes me happy to see. It wasn't even a long drawn out thing. It's like, we feel as though the soul of Double Fine will do well at the company. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, like, we wanted the money. They said we have some money, and we took the money because the money makes the world go around. Simple as that. And I was like, okay, these guys are in good hands. They'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what else comes from Double Fine now. It should be good.
Here. Because, I mean, honestly, I may have missed a game or two of theirs, I'll admit. But I honestly can't think of a bad game they put out. They're not the most frequent of releasers, but I pretty much liked every game they put up that I've played.
Yeah, they've all been solid. They're not all critical or they're not all commercial hits, but the games have all been solid.
Well, if there's one thing I've come to learn over the years is that, aside from the actual business angle, commercial hit doesn't melt the squat in the grand scheme of things. Just had that conversation with somebody recently about someone was telling me turn-based RPGs don't have an audience anymore. And I said, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, well, seriously. They don't sell very well, and no one's making them anymore. And he's like, Final Fantasy 15 was my favorite one. No. I'm like, well, first of all, and I'll admit I was wrong in the statement because I didn't have the statistics right. I was like, the industry for turn-based RPG is totally there. There's totally a fan base for that. It's just you got to make the game that speaks to them. Persona 5 was proof of that. That game sold like gangbusters during a time where people were saying turn-based games are dead. And I was like, but then the thing I got wrong was like it outsold Final Fantasy 15 because it should have outsold Final Fantasy 15. Aside from name, it totally should have. Turns out I was wrong by about 6 million units. So
so close.
There, I was just that off.
A smidge.
So my first thought, I was ready to reply to him like, ha, whatever. But then I was thinking, that just makes this sadder. So the Final Fantasy name sold 8 million copies, but it's clearly an inferior game. Not saying it's a bad game, but it is an inferior game. And that guy used that as a way to say turn-based RPGs are dead. Like, no, you're an idiot. No, they're totally they're out there, and I want more of them. Dragon Quest XI did well. But
how the hell did we get to RPGs after talking about Psychonauts?
I don't know because
you're talking
to talk about Double Fine. There was one aspect of Double Fine being acquired that I was a little sad about.
What part?
What's that?
They are no longer publishing Ooblets.
What's Ooblets?
So Ooblets is a little indie game that I've been following for a while, and last year they had been picked up by Double Fine to be published by them. Okay. And it's kind of like Animal Crossing meets Stardew Valley meets Farm Together meets Dance Dance Revolution.
What?
It's a ridiculous little farming game with, a few different genre crossovers. It's adorable. It looks really cool. And now they're back on the self-published train because they've lost Double Fine as their publisher.
That's kind of
maybe
sad.
someone will step in and hook them up.
I hope so.
I know Chris Charla's talked that game up quite a bit, so maybe Microsoft will step in.
I've been waiting for it for a long time, and it's had a very slow. If I'm not mistaken, it's being developed by like one or two people, and it's a really impressive and large game. But I hope it doesn't slow it down even more.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out eventually. But after all the Double Fine stuff, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga was announced. 2020 release date covering all 9 films. So that should be fun. Lego games are always good.
Yeah. Yes. That's the case of even when it's not the franchise, I still enjoy playing the games just because they're Lego.
Yeah. Lego's always fun. They showed a trailer for Dragon Ball Kakarot. Hopefully I said it right. I don't Dragon Ball, so I don't know. Looks like another standard Dragon Ball fighter game coming out early 2020. I'm sure it'll be solid. So
the thing that surprised me, like I'm waiting to hear more about it, but the thing I actually heard about it is that it's an action RPG, and I don't know how that's supposed to work.
It looked more like it had like farming elements and stuff to it, and I was like, "What?"
See, it was Dragon Ball, so I kind of zoned out. So this might actually be interesting to me. You were
wrong. Yeah, you were wrong.
I'll be damned.
My problem is that when I think of games like when I think of the franchise like Dragon Ball, I don't see action RPG because what will be the adversary? What will be the mobs that you fight or whatever? It's just a bunch of opponents. Like the show doesn't write that, but I'm sure they'll come up with some kind of thing like clones of all your favorite characters, or I don't know, the Ginyu Force, but they're actual minions. I don't know. They'll find something. But at first glance, I was confused by how that's going to become an action RPG. But I'll see how it goes.
I'll have to take a second look at that one as well. After that, they showed off the game 12 Minutes that you were talking about, Pernell, the interactive thriller being caught in a time loop from Annapurna Interactive.
I have such weird thoughts for that, but I do know that ultimately I want it. So the idea, from what I was told, is that you're reliving 12 minutes of your life over and over again, with the end result being you and your wife being murdered, and you're trying to figure out how to stop it. And my immediate thought was, I like the premise, but how much can you possibly do and change over a period of 12 minutes? I'm genuinely curious about that. But
yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah, I'm ready. I want that. Is that a 2020 game too, though?
I didn't see a date on that one.
No. Maybe we'll get that in 2019. Cross my fingers for it or something.
Fingers crossed. A game that is coming out in 2020 is Way to the Woods. I don't really remember much of this one either, but it is Game Pass at launch.
This one I am looking forward to. I've been watching this one, the development of it, for a while, and I did not think we were getting it on console. I thought if we did get it, it would be like a year or two from now. So I am super excited, because this again is another like created by one dude kind of thing. And it's an incredibly beautiful story of a deer and a fawn.
Oh, that one. All
going through the abandoned ruins of civilization to try to make their way back to the woods.
Yeah, I remember that one now.
It looked adorable, yet also like it drew me in. I'll say that. Like I can see myself getting into that game. I'm a big fan of like games with that level, that type of atmosphere.
Game Pass at launch.
That's just going to become the thing. Game Pass at launch. Game Pass.
Game Pass. Another game that's going to be included in Game Pass, they showed off Gears 5. They dropped the of War.
Mm-hmm.
May as well at this point.
People are mad about it, but it'll be fine.
I can kind of understand serious? Because GOW was either Gears of War or God of War.
Yeah. I would imagine that probably played a role in why they did it.
Yeah.
I
now
think
it's just Gears.
But the thing is, like, I feel like most people I talk to already shortened it to Gears on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now they're doing it officially.
Yeah, it's like, that's supposed to be your thing, Microsoft. You can't have it. It's ours. Like, now it makes sense. That's our word. We call it Gears.
Oh, God. Well, with an A.
I'll tell you. Yeah. It's like, it looks fine to me. I'm in. Like, Gears of War is a franchise where, like, I never really got into the story of it, at least not, like, to be like a religious follower, per se. But one day a friend convinced me to play through Gears of War 3 with him via co-op mode. And it clicked. Like, the game was a great deal of fun at that point. Oh,
yeah. The games are a blast to play with friends.
Yes. So, from that moment on, I was a fan of the series. So, they can definitely say that they owe my interest in the series to the co-op aspect of it. I will probably be playing this Gears 5 variant as long as I can get somebody to play with me.
Do you want to know when you'll be playing it?
When?
September 10th.
Oh, it's that soon.
Yep, It is that soon. And even better, the Gears Ultimate Edition is available 4 days early to Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. So you'll get the game 4 days early just for having Game Pass Ultimate.
That's what I was about to say. Wait, so is the game itself a part of Game Pass, or are they just offering you to buy it sooner?
Nope, it's in it, and you'll be able to play it 4 days sooner than anybody who buys the standard edition.
Yep.
Well, that's convenient, because I'll be playing that then.
Game Pass.
I despite the fact that Game Pass is already an insane bargain, I'm really expecting during XO19 for them to say that the Ultimate Edition of first-party games are going to become standard fare.
I wouldn't be shocked.
That would shock me, because again, I mean, I guess we talked about it earlier about how they're probably using like DLC as the booster, but I personally just can't see how they can make it fiscally solvent to make all their big releases free to Game Pass. But they must have worked it out in some way because they're doing it, and the gamers are reaping the benefit. So, hey, I can't complain.
You want to know something that's not on Game Pass?
Me.
The Elite Controller V2. The new model Elite Controller. Oh my god, I need this thing. I love the fact that this came up in conversation right as Ashley's in the next room getting ready for work. So that she could overhear how excited I am about this Elite Controller. They have adjustable tension in the thumbsticks. This has been rumored for so long. In the Inside Xbox presentation, they explained that it goes anywhere from current Xbox One looseness to original Xbox 360 stiffness, which is what oh my god, I've been dying to get. That's been my biggest complaint with the Xbox One controller.
I swear I hear you talking about this thing right now, and I mean, I'm not going to deny it. I've been playing video games for a long time. And for some reason, this dialogue sounds like a guy talking about speccing out their computer with the best graphics card. And they sound, I can't wait. They just released a new 32G Cast Double W model sound card. I can put my... I'm so confused. And yet I'm not at the same time. I'm just like, look, I want a controller that works. Yet at the same time, I can wager that if you took the controller and said, okay, Pernell, do you like a controller that's loose or stiff? And I'm like, I like a loose controller, okay. And like your buttons to be, force feed. You want them to be like push deep in, or do you want them to be like a feather touch? And all of a sudden, try this controller. This is immaculate. Yes, because I spec'd out your controller, which is a disturbing thing to say, by the way.
That's basically what you're getting with the Elite controller, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can spec out a controller. The thought of it is mind-boggling to me, and yet there you have it. You'll have people discussing their controller configurations, like physical configurations.
Well, the value of it for me is definitely there because I've already said a billion times. I have set up my Elite controller to be more useful so that I don't get hand fatigue as often. I will rebind buttons a lot so that I don't have to reach as far because my fingers are crooked. So being able to adjust those settings, I even have different profiles set up for whether I'm playing a shooter or whether I'm playing Rocket League.
Yeah.
Wait, so
and I can
save
swap
the configurations?
Between them. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
the current Elite controller has a switch that you flip just back and forth between two different profiles. The Elite controller version 2 is going to have 3 profiles at the toggle of a switch. So it's even more customizable.
Yeah.
It's going to have a wraparound rubber grip, shorter hair trigger locks. This thing is looking sexy. My gripe with it is that it has an internal battery. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of internal batteries.
I know you and Studa pretty much ripped me to shreds, but I was like, I'm not bothered by that. I'm just not.
I'm still going to want it. I would rather it be normal batteries instead of an internal one. It says it could hold up to 40 hours of playtime. It comes with a charging dock. You could even store it in the case and charge it that way.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. It comes out November 4th. The bad part, $179.
Yeah, you can have it.
Yeah.
I do have some good news about that, though.
What, you won one?
No.
You get me one for Christmas?
No, I'm too poor for that. If you do go ahead and buy a version 2 Elite and you want to upgrade to Project Scarlett,
it will
work with it.
Yep.
It will.
All of your accessories, all of your current accessories. We'll get to that eventually as well, too.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I want to talk about that right now, but I get what you're saying. You have your order of things.
Yeah, because after the Elite controller, they showed off Dying Light 2, which is coming out in spring. After that, they showed off the Forza Horizon Lego Speed Champions expansion, which looks fucking incredible. And best of all, it is out this week.
Yes.
Lego Forza.
Lego Forza?
Yes, Lego.
That seems like such an unexpectedly interesting thing.
It's almost as weird as the Hot Wheels expansion from last game.
That's my initial thought was, do we really need a Lego expansion for it? And then I thought, well, they had Hot Wheels last time, and everybody swore it was the best shit ever. So maybe.
You know? Well, you know what I got to ask now. I have to know: is it amongst the many?
Well, this is DLC.
Oh,
so Forza is in.
Forza Horizon 4 is in Game Pass, but you'll have to buy the expansion pass for the DLC.
Okay, but that's still not bad though.
Yeah. The base game is in Game Pass, though. So there you go. Forza Horizon 4. Download that shit.
Sold.
They showed off a new trailer for Gears Pop, which is the mobile game that I really don't care about. A trailer for the State of Decay 2 Heartland DLC, which is 2 stories in the biggest expansion yet. Yes, actual stories campaign. And best of all, it is available now. And unlike Forza, this one is included in Game Pass.
Yeah.
DLC in Game Pass. Yep.
I have it installed, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I'm so excited, though. I love all things State of Decay.
I do, too, though. Unfortunately, as Joe can probably vouch for here, my problem is that I never have the time. I have State of Decay 1 and I bought State of Decay 1 on Xbox 360. Then I bought State of Decay 1 Definitive Edition on Xbox One. And then I bought State of Decay 2 on Xbox. Can you guess how many of those got opened up?
You know, they're all on Game Pass now.
Doesn't matter. I need the physical disc. Need them discs.
That's your own damn fault. I don't ever support buying this.
I need my physical products, though I will say, I've already bought these, but if I was going to buy a game and then the game's like, hey, you get it for free digitally right now. Very rarely have I been able to convince myself, spend that money that you were going to spend when you already are getting it free of charge. You can spend the time with it and then walk away.
Yeah.
It's a weird thought because while I will say I'm always going to be a proponent for physical stuff, if I'm getting it for free, I don't need it physically because I'm getting the enjoyment out of it right there in that format. So
Game Pass.
Yep.
Get your Game Pass on.
Something that will not be on Game Pass but is free to play anyway. Phantasy Star Online 2 is coming to America.
That was a surprise to hear. And it's an interesting statement to come across, too, because on one hand, there were people who were stating the obvious, which is that in Japan, PSO2 has been around for quite a while.
Yes.
But what they failed to realize is that it was available there. And while, you could probably play it on a PC if you really wanted to, you have to go through all the hurdles of dealing with all the PC crap and getting the unofficial translations, blah, blah, blah. Anybody got time for that? And the other component is the fact that, quite frankly, people still finally remember PSO1 and would like to play PSO2, me being amongst those folks. So, that was a surprise to hear. And the nostalgia vibes were just all over the place when they got announced.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Cole, you can vouch for how excited I was when that one was announced.
Look, Studa was determined not to make any sounds while we were watching to display excitement. And even he was like, over Phantasy Star Online. So yeah, there was definitely some
joy in the room
happening and some nerdiness going on. Yeah, we're all over that.
Hell yeah. Comes out spring 2020. Will have crossplay. I don't know what consoles we're going to see it on. A lot of people are assuming that it's going to be an Xbox One and PC only game in America because Microsoft is hosting the game on the cloud servers, which is very possible, but I haven't seen any confirmation myself yet on what's going on with it. But for now, it's coming to Xbox One. It is coming to America, and I'm going to play the fuck out of it next spring.
That makes 2 of us. We can play co-op.
Also coming to Xbox in 2020 is the game Crossfire X from Smilegate. I don't really know much about this one. It's just a war shooter. Cole, do you have anything on it?
No, it was completely new to me.
Yeah, it's supposedly one of the biggest games out there on PC.
News to me.
Fucking no. Could be an Asian market kind of deal, but it's coming to Xbox, first to console in 2020, and it's on Game Pass.
synonymous with this episode. It's on Game Pass.
Well, that's the last one that's on Game Pass.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss hearing that statement.
Because they're showing off some big stuff next. Tales of Arise, brand new Tales game, coming to Xbox in 2020. I believe it's also on PlayStation and PC, if I remember properly, or it might just be only on PlayStation and Xbox. I don't care. New Tales game, I'm excited. Coming to Xbox, yes. Happy.
The downside is actually, there really is no downside. Actually, no, there is a downside exclusive to Pernell, which is that I need to get my ass on Berseria and finish Vesperia and try that other one that I heard is not very good anyway, so maybe I should skip it.
Yeah, just focus on Vesperia.
Will do, sir. Thank you.
After Tales, they showed off a new trailer for Borderlands 3, confirmed it's coming out September 13th. Then they also confirmed the worst kept secret out there, the Commander Lilith for Borderlands 2 DLC is out now.
Yeah, I have to eat my hat over that one because I genuinely didn't think y'all were getting shit.
and it's free until July 8th.
What do you mean? Oh, the free. DLC is?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Brand new Borderlands 2 DLC is free.
Well, I appreciate you outright stated that it's free to a certain date, because I was going to probably slouch on or downloading it until closer to the release of 3, but now I know I need to download it when we're done recording tonight.
Yep, we'll chop on that one. Get to downloading. After that, they showed off the reveal trailer for Elden Ring, which is another horribly kept secret. That is the game from Miyazaki from Software and George R.R. Martin, being published by Bandai Namco. They didn't really show much on it, so I can't really comment much on it.
No, just seemed very Lord of the Ring-ish.
I'm excited to see more.
Yeah.
So, then they talked about Project xCloud. The public debut is at E3, so people are testing it at E3, and it's going to be unveiled to the public in October. This is the basically streaming your Xbox to your phone.
What?
Yes.
That just seems weird to me.
To your phone, to your tablet, to your laptop. The rumor possibly to your Switch.
I will see how that goes when it happens. Right now, my brain just doesn't even want to process that.
Well, it's processing.
I can't do it. Can't do it, Cole.
Finally, after that, they talked about the next generation Xbox. It's going to be powered by AMD. They say it is 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One X. It will have an SSD drive in it. It is called Project Scarlett, at least for now, and they are aiming for a holiday 2020 release. Now is when you could talk about all the next gen rumors.
I will say the thing that made me happy about what I heard about that was, though obviously we don't know the specifics of it yet, there's something to be said about them very vocally stating all of your old games will still freaking work on this thing.
Yeah.
Like,
not only your old games, your old accessories. That makes me excited because that makes a possible next gen Rock Band that much more possible because all our instruments will work.
And it makes me feel even a little glad about not having sold my stuff. I mean,
Carl in chat. So Rock Band, he knows what's up. Hi, Carl. How have you been? I'm glad you got to catch one of these.
Yeah, I do love me some Rock Band. Just, you know how it is. And who knows, I could still get that. I could possibly get the band back together when all the kids are out of the freaking house.
Maybe. And then Latino Heat in chat is saying hopefully they can bundle Project Scarlett with Halo Infinite, which they showed a new Halo Infinite trailer at the very end, and they confirmed it is a Scarlett launch title.
Yes.
Do you think we'll still see an Xbox One version of it?
They probably
will. It work on both either way?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did both. It just seems like that thing where it's like, hey, Halo, hardcore Halo fans with the money to do so are going to want to see it on the nicer console. And the folks who can't quite afford the console yet will still just get it and play it. So it's better just to, I thought I'd do it for both consoles. It just makes it seems like it would make the most sense that way.
No. They said that the trailer that was shown at E3 was in-engine. It wasn't a cutscene. It was running in-game engine. And if that's true, that looked like a goddamn cutscene.
Which sounds like a play to make. It's Halo. I mean, they're going to put all their damn money into that game, and it's going to do well.
I'm scared what the next Forza games are going to look like.
It's going to look so realistic. You're going to feel bored about you're going to worry about denting the car at that point. Like, oh crap, I don't want to crash into a wall or something. Think of the damage it's going to cause. Think of the repair bill. It's a video game. I know it's a video game. But
well, that was the Xbox conference. Really good show, I think.
Honestly, I have to say I agree. It's interesting that when you go to forums, right, and people talk about these conferences, not just Microsoft, but any of them, people seem to go out of their way to go, that sucked. That sucked. I didn't want anything on that conference. But from what I could tell, and what I could hear, even though I saw a couple of people still doing that because that's what people on the internet do, this was a genuinely solid quality lineup of games to announce during a press conference.
It was. Mm-hmm. And so many of them being on Game Pass is just incredible.
I have to agree with that, too. Because like
every other game on there, I was like, it launches on Game Pass. Launch on Game Pass. Game Pass day one.
It's a good thing. And
cool.
They released the numbers on Game Pass. I'm curious to see how well it's up doing beyond like that first, within the first month after E3's passing, how many new subscriptions they get, because I feel like they are well deserved at this point.
Yeah.
If not before anyway. I'm playing a game right now that I would have never played if not for Game Pass. So there you go.
3-hour commercial. Cole, what'd you think of the Xbox conference?
I thought it was fucking awesome.
It was.
I spent a lot of time just with my mouth agape going, or saying, I was looking forward to that, or oh my god, that's going to be amazing.
I need that.
Yeah.
I need that.
And then, well, I didn't have to say I need that because I could say I'm going to have that.
On Game Pass.
Because it was all fucking in Game Pass. So I didn't even have to think about it beyond that.
There was a tiny bit of news on Inside Xbox that was on Monday. They announced Sea of Thieves. They're doing an event this week. If you play from the 10th through the 15th, you get a Halo Spartan ship set.
Nice.
Which looks awesome.
Man, Student and I played Sea of Thieves day before yesterday, I think it was. And we were just like, we're just going to go casually. We're going to fish. It's going to be fun. We got fucked up constantly. People were griefing us the entire time. And we just wanted to sit there and fish and not even do anything because I didn't feel good. I'd had my medicine. And I was like, I don't want to put any thought into a game. I just want to sit and fish. And like, I've never had so much grief. There were people who were pirate legends and we spawned the moment we landed on an island at an outpost before we'd even got on our boat. We get on our boat and they were actively hiding in the corners.
Oh God.
Waiting to ambush us as soon as we set sail.
Sounds like real pirates to me.
Oh my God, they were assholes.
Like real pirates. They were doing their job.
It was awful. And then, so we scuttled the ship. We got away from them. We spawned somewhere else. We go through, this whole exchange where we get 3 bounty skulls, and we're like, yeah, it was okay. That was a good run. And we're just dicking around. We're sitting there fishing. Boom. The same people managed to find us on the other fucking side of the world and rammed our boat and sank it. And we were just standing there like, I hate this game.
Oh my Lord, that's amazing.
I just wanted to fish.
That is
not
amazing.
Out here, you ain't.
Fishing on that fucking server. Fuck you.
You're on international waters.
Speaking of being on international waters, Awesome Prime just dropped a couple of biddies. You know what that means?
Dropping bits.
I don't.
Dropping bits. Pernell, you really need to listen to the show sometime because you're missing out on a great running gag where our friend Norg, do you know what bits are on Twitch?
No.
Do you know what Twitch is?
It's that thing that happens when I got too much sugar in my system.
Exactly.
And not
That what happens when you eat too many wet pancakes.
No, I ain't eating them damn pancakes. Oh my God. So gross.
But whenever someone drops biddies in our chat, we play one of 4 different sound effects from our friend George that is some variation of dropping bits.
I see.
And the one of them features the saying wet pancakes, which is where the gag comes from.
Dropping bits like wet pancakes?
Close.
I made an emote of wet pancakes.
Pernell, you should be in our chat right now.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I'm playing Supermarket Shriek.
Oh my god.
That's what's happening right now.
There was some bad news coming from the Inside Xbox event. It was confirmed that despite us getting a massive batch of backward compatible games, it is the final batch of backward compatible games that we are getting.
Well, I mean, at first that seemed like a bad thing, but then, I mean, it made sense when you came to realize what they were talking about. They're just stopping so they can focus on doing it for Scarlett. So if the time is going to get put into making more backwards compatible game options available to the system that we're ultimately going to be moving towards anyway, I'm okay with that.
No, I think their job is they're working on getting everything that currently works on the Xbox One working on the Scarlett.
Oh, so this isn't even a matter of like, because the vibe I was getting was they're like, okay, we're going to see if we can make it so that everything's compatible on Scarlett as opposed to just the stuff we want.
I mean, that's the actual goal. They want everything to be compatible.
I don't think everything is going to be compatible. I think it's going to be whatever works on Xbox One works on Scarlett. That's what I think it's going to be.
But I mean, in the actual, when they were talking about Xbox Scarlett, they said they wanted it to be a solid place for all 4 generations of Xbox. So, I mean...
And technically, all 4 generations would be there, although there's only going to be 40 games from the OG Xbox.
They're not going to be content with just that. I mean, realistically, the goal is going to be as many as possible.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll start up the program once again, but they went out on a high note. 8 games got Xbox One X enhancements so that they are in pretty 4K on your 4K displays. And they're all rare games. Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, Cameo, Perfect Dark Zero, Viva Pinata, and Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise all got the enhancements.
Nice.
Well, one game I thought I heard say was amongst the final release games was Infinite Undiscovery, which was a surprising one to hear.
I didn't get there yet, Pernell.
I'm such a great human being. Can you tell?
I'm getting there. The batches of games that they released, the original Xbox, they announced Armed and Dangerous, Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy, all 4 Splinter Cell games, Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow, Chaos Theory, and Double Agent, and Unreal Championship 2, all now playable on Xbox One. And then the final batch of 360 games, there's some doozies in here. Ashura's Wrath, Battlefield 2 Modern Combat, Enchanted Arms, Enslaved, Far Cry Classic, Far Cry Instincts Predator, Infinite Undiscovery, King Kong because everybody needs that fucking gamer score, Prince of Persia The Forgotten Sands, Skate, Star Ocean The Last Hope, which I was excited about, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Syndicate, Unreal Tournament 3, and the shocker of all shockers, 2 Human.
I thought that, I'm honestly surprised to hear that got the cut, because I thought that was kind of universal panned.
They're legally not allowed to sell it, so they're giving it away free. Yeah, Silicon Knights had issues with Epic over use of the Unreal Engine, and things got messy, and they were ordered to destroy all copies of the game.
Wow.
Yeah, and now it's backward compatible. Who fucking like outside of Kingdoms of Amalur? That one in like NCAA 14, I imagine, were the games we would never see, and we got 2 Human.
Meanwhile, a realization I came to once while we were talking about it, apparently Jet Set Radio Future never made the cut.
Nope.
Which I didn't realize, but my friend clarified that that was on 360 backwards compatible. So.
Yep. Unfortunately, the program is on hiatus for now. Maybe after the Scarlett launches, we'll see it start back up. But I have so many 360 games still in my room because they can't go out in the living room where the Xbox One is.
Yeah,
they're not playable.
I hear that. My Xbox 360 library is a doozy. Like, to this day. But like, honestly, that's also a good reason why you still keep the old system around, regardless. Because while it is nice to be able to play them on the nice new system, on the nice, with the nice 4K, sometimes they don't make that cut. But admittedly, I also appreciate that a company's still like, hey, we'll do what we can to give you to get as many games playable as possible. Because contrary to popular belief, they're not obligated to do that. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, you bought the new system to play new games. That's it. Yeah. But hey, we're going to see if we can get the old ones playable on there too. It's like, thanks, I appreciate that because I'm all about retro shit.
Yeah. Well, speaking of retro stuff, no, I don't have a segue for that one.
You have a segue for everything.
I don't have one for that one. Speaking of dicks, moving on was the Bethesda conference. Yes, we are not done. We made it through the Xbox conference. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try speedrunning a couple of these. The Bethesda conference opened up to a pretty hype sizzle reel of what we could expect from the show. Pete Hines came out and gave a speech thanking the community. Todd Howard came out and made some Fallout 76 jokes. And then they showed a bunch of content from the games. Elder Scrolls Blades has a new update. Play it tonight. And someone in the crowd yelled, yes, sir. And people laughed. The interesting thing is it is coming to the Switch this fall. Elder Scrolls Blades. It will still be free, and it'll feature crossplay and progression with the mobile version. So you could play it on mobile now, and when it releases on the Switch, all your progress will be there.
Very nice.
I'm interested.
They moved on to Fallout 76. The Wastelanders update is coming. It will be the biggest update to date. It will feature human NPCs, which people have been begging for, an actual mainline quest, dialogue trees, and it'll be a free update this fall.
I need to start playing that darn game. I do have it sitting here, and I have friends who have played the original, and just, contrary to all the hate it was getting, they seem to say it was fun to play around with, as long as you don't come in expecting a game to play exactly like the Fallout you were used to. Yeah. So hearing these updates coming down the pike proves that the company still wants to make right on their promise of being a solid product. So
yeah. And for people to check it out, there's a free trial going on this week until the 17th. They say it's for all platforms. So if Fallout 76 is on your device of choice, you can give it a free trial this week. Mm-hmm. And then they also announced that they're going to be doing a sneak peek of a brand new 52-player Battle Royale mode coming to Fallout 76. That will be a sneak peek all during the week. It will be another free update when it releases. I didn't get a date on that one. But I like the fact that there's a literal ring of fire that closes in on you.
I'm surprised that this Battle Royale thing is going so strong that everyone wants to do it. And yet at the same time, it works. It genuinely works. Though I could see it doing pretty well for Fallout if they work with the way weaponry works in that franchise already. Like a lot of weird things you find on the ground, like actual frying pans and weird guns, as opposed to like the usual fare. Except being pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Are you? Anyway. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Never mind. Go ahead. Go.
No.
I'm fine. I was going to ask if you had any familiarity with any like Battle Royale games, like what you'd expect to see out of one from Fallout universe.
I don't play Battle Royale. Cole, you do.
I do, and I wouldn't even know where to start with Battle Royale and Fallout because I haven't played any Fallout games. Like, I'm just generically informed about them.
I'm pretty sure it's just going to be a completely separate mode. I don't think they're going to incorporate it into the main game. I think it's going to be separate.
Yeah.
That's at least what I'm getting out of it. I might be wrong, but
I mean, I'm sure of it, but it's still I'm not familiar with the lore in the universe and stuff to know anything.
Like what you would expect out of it, right?
Yeah, a genuine opinion. Just I will say, as much as I do enjoy some Battle Royale games, I don't understand why every fucking game now thinks it needs a Battle Royale mode.
They want that money. They think it makes money so they can be the next big hit, which confuses me a little because I feel like everyone wants it, but in the end, the market's going to become saturated with the type of game.
The market is saturated.
Yeah.
The market is saturated.
Carl said it jumped the shark with Tetris 99.
Yeah.
Complete global saturation.
Yeah, Tetris 99 is probably as crazy a Battle Royale as you can get. Tetris Battle Royale.
Absolutely.
And that game is surprisingly enjoyable, though.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good. Shinji Mikami of Tango Gameworks came out on stage to talk about Ghostwire Tokyo, his new action-adventure horror game. So, Cole, you'll be excited.
Yes.
They stressed it's not survival horror. It's just action-adventure horror. And then they showed a cinematic trailer. They talked Elder Scrolls Online, the latest expansion Elsewhere recently released. They showed a long cinematic movie. The next update's called Dragonhold this fall. Scalebreaker Dungeon DLC is coming in August. So ESO fans have a lot to look forward to. Cole, you any thoughts on it since you're playing it right now?
No, because I'm still so noobish at it that I would give a horrible opinion that wouldn't make any fucking sense. Because like my experience with Elder Scrolls right now is walk to waypoint, smash things with hammer, walk to next waypoint.
Oh, so you got the point.
Yeah. This is all I've done for 3 days. I'm so confused.
Also loot homes.
Can you loot homes?
I don't know if you can in ESO. You might get arrested or a bounty on your head or something.
Yeah, probably.
That just adds to the fun, though.
I'm not. This is not Elven Grand Theft Auto, though.
Yeah, it's Grand Theft Porridge. Get down to business.
Porridge.
More porridge, please.
Porridge sounds awful.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of awful things,
wet pancakes.
Hey, speaking of awful things, Commander Keen is returning as a shitty mobile game.
I've yet to see a single person speak positively about that abomination.
It looks awful. It looks positively awful. That's all the attention I want to give to it. Soft launch this summer. Fallout Shelter hit 150 million downloads. Elder Scrolls Legends, they had a video shown. Rage 2 is getting new mechs and cheats coming, as well as a Rise of the Ghosts expansion. Wolfenstein Cyberpilot VR is coming in July. Wolfenstein Youngblood coming out in July as well on Xbox, PS4, PC, and Switch. More Nazis to kill because fuck Nazis. That's in my notes.
Mm-hmm.
And then kill Nazis with a friend with co-op. Yay.
Yay.
Arcane Studios came out and showed off a trailer for Deathloop, their new game. Then two guys came out talking up Bethesda's accomplishments. They have over 1 billion mod downloads on Skyrim and Fallout.
You have to mod Fallout 76 to make it enjoyable.
Womp womp.
Wants us to be loved.
They're going to have their own streaming service, mobile streaming, where you could play, I believe, your PC games, or just, I don't get it. It's called Orion. My notes just say you'll allegedly be able to stream games at max settings no matter where you are via mobile streaming. It looked dumb.
So it's like Bethesda Stadia.
I guess. I don't know. There's too much streaming shit. I don't fucking care. Doom Eternal, they showed a new video of that coming out November 22nd. A collector's edition is available with a wearable helmet. And then they're talking about a new battle mode, which is a 2v1 of one hyped up Marine versus 2 demons. They said more details will be at QuakeCon.
Well,
and that was Bethesda.
Huh.
That went quicker than Xbox.
Yeah.
Well, because none of it was on Game Pass, clearly.
Devolver was next up. It's just watch Devolvers. I don't know how else to put it. Just watch Devolvers. It's amazing.
There's nothing we could say that would give it the props it deserves.
Yeah. So the actual content that they showed, a Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout hitting PS4 and PC in early 2020. Devolver Bootleg, which is knockoff versions of 8 of their own games, available on Steam for $4.99.
But it's on sale.
You're right. It is on sale for 1% off. So it's $4.95.
That company is just the best.
Devolver are the best. They are dicks in every way, and I love it. They showed off Carrion. They call it a reverse horror experience, so you are the bad guy.
Nice.
It looked... Cole, did you see a trailer for that one?
No, I actually missed Devolver's thing, so
you'll have to watch
disappointed. Yeah.
It was listed as PC and quote console in 2020. I hope it includes Xbox. I know Devolver's not the biggest on Xbox releases, but this one looks crazy, and I think you would love it.
Yeah, just from what you said, I'm interested.
Yeah. Then they showed off Enter the Gungeon House of the Gundead, a light game, a light gun arcade cabinet that is real and hitting actual real arcades in 2020.
Oh my god!
An actual one gets it. It's like House of the Dead mixed with Enter the Gungeon, and it looks ridiculous.
And I want to try it so badly. Like I said, I really hope round ones get it at least, because maybe Dave and Buster's would carry it too now I think about it. But
probably.
I want some of that, though, because I am a huge fan of Enter the Gungeon proper, so
yeah.
What's not to like about this variant? I can't get past the third damn floor, though, but Wes, that's a whole other story.
Oh, my.
After that, they showed off a new update for the Messenger coming in July, and then they closed it out showing off My Friend Pedro, which hits Switch and PC June 20th, which we will be covering on the show in a couple of weeks.
Is it a Napoleon Dynamite sequel?
No. There's a lot of killing and a banana.
Mm-hmm.
So Napoleon Dynamite's become a murderer?
Yes. I have no clue because I'm not playing the game. So I believe Tim is covering that one. But that is it from Devolver. Next up was Ubisoft, and I skipped it because I slept.
Division.
You tell us what happened at Ubisoft.
They showed off the 3 Division DLCs for year 1. And, so good. You're actually going to be leaving Washington, D.C. for some of them. There's even going to be one that takes place in the motherfucking Pentagon.
Ooh.
I love the Division, man. I do. There was also a hint as to who the big bad could be for the story. I don't want to give it away if anybody hasn't seen it though, because that's definitely worth watching the Division conference for, to get that little bit of information.
Dark Mika says, I heard Division 2 was becoming free to play. Is that true?
It is free for the next 4 days.
Free trial period.
Yeah. So you get a little free period to just roll through it. And my backpack is ready and willing if anybody needs a carry.
Any other fun stuff at Ubisoft?
They showed off Ghost Recon Breakpoint and had John Bernthal come out, who brought his pit bull Bam Bam. That was adorable.
Nice.
She kind of stole the show, and she didn't do anything but lay there, and it was just amazing. But there was a really good cinematic trailer. Didn't really show us anything that we hadn't already seen on as far as Ghost Recon goes, but it was still nice and pretty and got the blood flowing. And those were the only 2 things I paid attention to.
All right. Well.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Just Dance. That's right.
Just Dance.
That was a shocker.
Nobody saw that one.
Yeah, coming. On the fucking Wii. Just Dance 2020 is releasing on the Wii, not the Wii U.
Look, they're dedicated to a cause, okay?
Because there's like a bunch of people in like old folks' homes. It's like, oh boy, I can't wait for that new Just Dance to come out. To be
fair, the girls' school still uses a Wii with Just Dance games as part of PE on rainy days. So
really,
yeah, it's when you can't get the kids out, then it's a good way to deal with it. Just hook up a Wii in the gym and let them go.
Cloven Casey said Watch Dogs 3. That was officially unveiled at Ubisoft's conference. It looks great.
Looks so good.
I saw footage of an old lady NPC becoming the lead character. Pernell, if you haven't heard, the new Watch Dogs game is going to allow you to be anybody in the game.
Yeah, I heard, but I don't understand the context because it just doesn't click with me. Like, are you brainjacking people in this?
No, you recruit them.
Oh, I see. So it's a matter of like fulfill some mission objective or something, and now you can, and that NPC becomes your teammate.
Yeah,
but that's still got to be a lot of NPCs.
And they all carry on like their own individual lives and things separate of the game.
Dark Mika, I'm going to be the hot Asian girl in next to no clothing. Oh, Dark Mika, what are we going to do with you?
This actually genuinely does speak to me, because there are some games I've played where there was a game I used to play back in the day called was it Ephemeral Fantasia or something like that, where you could recruit people, but you had to like follow them throughout their day-to-day life and help them solve all their life problems and crap. And then it's like, thanks for helping me get over my alcoholism. I'll join your party. It's like, yeah. So I like the idea that's how this game works. It's like you're just following a person who's like, look, I'm a hacker, but you have real problems. Let's sit down and talk it out. And the side quest is just... They
do all have like different benefits. So like, yeah, you can be that little old lady, but she's got a past as being an assassin.
What? I thought you was going to say something like she's good at distracting people by getting her help across the street.
Nope, she's a hardcore assassin. Little Granny books it with her taser and she shits all over them. And she's incredible, seriously.
And her calling card is wet pancakes, I'm assuming?
I hope so.
Oh, Lord.
All we have at the scene is a pile of wet pancakes. Who eats these?
I will say, though, if you lose your character, it is permadeath. You cannot get them back.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's interesting. It also makes it'll be really hard to favorite somebody because they'll be dead.
Yep.
Poor characters.
Oh, man. So, yeah, that was Ubisoft, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Close enough. Square Enix is next, or Square Enix, however you want to say it. They opened up with the Final Fantasy VII Remake. They said that it is 2 Blu-ray discs worth of content so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a game that this is a weird place to be, because I want the game and I'm looking forward to the game, but I really can't hype myself for it, nor can I anticipate it, because it's still so far from really being done. What's going to happen is we're going to get the final disc release in 2020. I think it said March 2020, and it's going to be like probably some junk like all the way up to Costa del Sol. And now you got to wait another 3 years to get the next bit of content. And then it's going to be like a third version of it or something, because it's still episodic, right?
Allegedly, from what I hear, supposedly the first part is going to go up until, spoiler alert, Eris dies.
Okay, so maybe they're doing 2 parts then, which is still, though, I wonder how long it's going to take for the second part to even come out. But I guess seeing something's better than nothing. Just want the thing to be done.
I like the fact that it's real-time combat. That's interesting. They showed off the combat in the game where it's a mix of real-time combat, hack and slash action with the active time bar from Final Fantasy classic games that you would know. And as the time bar fills up, you could use abilities and spells or use items, but normally you're just mashing the button to attack, which is, I think that could be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it.
So it's a button masher until you fill a gauge?
Yes.
That could go either way for me, but I feel like ultimately it'll play out. I mean, they probably got a lot of experience from like seeing people play like Kingdom Hearts, and we can simplify that a bit. Maybe. And there's also a part of me that's thinking they're probably going, okay, we know that Final Fantasy VII has an audience that goes well beyond our norm, like, because it drew people in that wasn't touching any of these games back then. So let's stick with that trend and make it as accessible as possible. Focus on the cinematics and the action.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after Final Fantasy VII, they showed a trailer for Life is Strange 2. I don't know why. It's available now. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles trailer coming out this winter on PS4, Switch, and mobile.
Fucking hell.
But still no Xbox.
So, I love Crystal Chronicles.
Still no Xbox.
Absolutely fucking love it. I hate Square Enix.
They aren't who they used to be
I just
anymore.
fucking hate it at this point. I don't understand. It
Why?
is the most nonsensical bullshit the way they skip Xbox.
I see what you're saying.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but They showed off a new trailer for Octopath Traveler, now available on Steam. They showed a trailer for The Last Remnant Remastered, which is out tonight on the Switch.
Which I honestly may buy, because
that was a cool announcement.
So I bought it on Xbox originally, the 360, but the big gripe the game had was that it had slowdown out the wazoo on that original hardware. Fixing that slowdown, however, would make the game immensely more playable. Yeah. Which I'm going to assume this remaster has done.
Well, you'll have to let us know.
I will.
Cool.
So find out how much it costs and move forward.
$20.
And
cool.
I will let you know.
Next up was a Dragon Quest Builders 2 trailer. Showed off 4-player online co-op hitting the PS4 July 12th. Dragon Quest 11 trailer hitting the Switch this fall. Square Enix Collective trailer, Circuit Superstars, a racing game, is coming 2020 to Xbox, PS4, Switch, and PC. And then Battalion 1944 is available now on Steam. They had a segment about Square Music now being available on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, and tons of other music providers, digital. Kingdom Hearts 3 is getting DLC this winter. Final Fantasy XIV has a new expansion releasing in July. They showed a new trailer for Dying Light 2 because Square's publishing that now. And then some interesting stuff. Romancing Saga and Saga Scarlet Grace are coming to the West for the first time. Saga 3 is going to be on all 3 of the platforms, kind of like how we got Romancing Saga 2. And then Saga Scarlet Grace is looks to be a much more graphically intensive game, so clearly the PS4 is the only one that can handle that. Yeah. Damn it, Square. They showed off something for their mobile game, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, which I didn't care about. Outriders, the new game from People Can Fly, the guys who did Gears Judgment and Bulletstorm, is called Outriders. That's releasing summer 2020 on Xbox, PS4, and PC. They showed off a trailer for Onanaki, which is hitting Switch, PS4, and PC on August 22nd. The Final Fantasy VIII is getting remastered. Hooray.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not all get excited at once.
I'll pick it up. I liked Final Fantasy VIII. I hate drawing magic, but I still like Final Fantasy VIII. Triple Triad is the shit.
Yes, it was. And I will admit, for my dislike of the general game, I have to admit, like, people like to rag on, like, remasters and stuff, and I am one of those people. But this is an example of a game that needed one. That game looks ugly now, like the original version does.
Yeah.
But seeing those character models in this updated version was nice. Like, you could actually see the detail they were intending to put in for the characters when they originally released the game.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
I agree.
That is coming out 2019 on Xbox, Switch, PS4, PC. It's hitting everything, so that is awesome as well. And then they wrapped up their show with Marvel Avengers trailer. They showed that you're going to be playing as Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Iron Man. It will feature 4-player online co-op. There will be no additional cost for future DLC heroes or regions. There will be no loot boxes and no pay to win. Allegedly. You can never tell anymore these days. Yeah. It'll be available on PS4, Xbox, PC, and Stadia, because why the fuck not? And it will have an early beta on PS4 because it's Square, and of course. And then it releases May 15th, 2020. So that was Square.
I think the funniest thing that came out of that one for me was I keep seeing people posting memes about the way the Avengers looked in the game. And there was this one in particular that was hilarious where it was like, it's like an Imperial soldier from Star Wars going like, who the hell are these guys? You got the wrong Avengers. You got their stunt doubles.
Oh, from Spaceballs.
Yeah, and I responded by, I made like a little version where I was like, you got like Second Lieutenant America. What the hell are you doing? You're supposed to get Captain America, not this fraud. You got Black Tarantula. Jesus.
Oh, no.
Is this Copper Man?
Copper Man. Oh, my Lord. What'd you think of Square's show? I thought it was decent. I would have liked more surprises, but it seems they saved some of those for Nintendo's conference, which we'll get to in just a couple of minutes. I'm sick of their avoidance of Xbox. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of done. Not with the company as a whole, because I mean, I'm not going to say that they don't put out good games, and when they make ones I want, I'm going to buy them. But Square hasn't wowed me in quite some time. I think the last time they genuinely gave me a solid wow moment was Bravely Default, and as you recall, that game got, I should say Octopath too, but that game got like a low key release. No one even really talked about it. It just came out and people liked it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, but the stuff that they usually give the most hype to, they're usually like things that just seem kind of needless, or I'm just not all that concerned about. Yeah, I like Final Fantasy VII. I look forward to the remake, but that's been like their big thing for the past couple of years. It's like, I'm done with it. Just give me the game now, okay? Like, people are all like, oh my God, it's Tifa! Oh my God, see the characters? I'm like, I don't care. I already know you're working on it. I don't need to see progression shots. Just give me the freaking product. But I'm glad they gave us a date. That, to me, was the only thing that truly mattered there. Like, we have a date, so now we can play the official waiting game and get the damn product. But generally, I don't.
And buy the $330 collector edition on the Square store.
But hey, you get Cloud on a bike. I can't believe I just said Cloud on a Squall on a bike, but whatever. They're interchangeable sometimes. But nah, you get Cloud on the bike. That's the one you're talking about, right? It's the Square Enix store exclusive.
Yep.
I honestly, if that price were there, I'd consider it, because I do like the way that looked. That statue was nice. $330.
$329.99. Maybe they'll do a Devolver sale and put it to $329.95.
Now I'd pay that. That is within my wheelhouse of payment.
That's a lot more palatable. I could do that.
I'm sold.
Anyway, the final conference that we are tackling tonight, sorry, Cole, we're almost done.
Okay. Is
the Nintendo Direct press event that went on just today, Tuesday, as we're recording this. Pernell, did you watch this one?
Yes and no. So I was stuck in an office meeting during the conference, but I was getting lots of skinny details afterwards. So I got a fair number of the content. So if you talk about this, I think I'll have some understanding of pretty much all of it.
Cool. Well, Nintendo's Direct started off with a brand new character coming to Smash Brothers Ultimate. It is the hero from Dragon Quest XI.
Wait, are you serious? I'm kidding. Yeah, I did see that one. And actually, that was one that I feel like people who are following it should have been a surprise to no one. However, seeing it be confirmed and the character be implemented is pretty cool. Though I will admit, I heard my fair share of people doing the usual, another sword user? What the hell is this crap? But honestly, it's Dragon Quest. It deserves representation. And the way they're going about it with this one, I think is legit. So
yeah, Square is actually showing effort with this one, unlike Cloud, where it's just him, one different outfit, and then 2 music tracks. It looks like they're actually putting some effort into this one, because all of the alternate costumes are different heroes from the Dragon Quest series.
And my friend and I were speculating, we're not sure, but during the trailer, it seemed like the hero character had more special attacks than usual. And we're guessing he's either going to be at the menu option, which is a really cool concept for this guy. He can scroll through his menu. Either the menu just has that many more specials than normal, or one guy suggests that each hero costume has a different special. Very possible.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And it's a very cool concept. They did that. I'd be very happy. You could have 4 different heroes running around, and they all play slightly a bit differently. And then the super, of course, is every other non-skinned hero from Dragon Quest showing up. Just the main heroes, though, not the side characters.
Yeah.
So, and I thought that was a nice touch.
It was cool, though. I'm looking forward to him. Should be a good character. Comes out this summer.
Mm-hmm. But you know who's coming after that.
Don't give it away yet, even though I'm sure everybody knows. They showed a Dragon Quest XI trailer that they gave a final date, September 27th. That's when it's coming out. They had a segment on Luigi's Mansion 3. They detailed the multiplayer modes, the power-ups. Luigi's going to have a special ability called Gooigi, where it's a gooey doppelganger of Luigi that you can control, who could like walk through gates and spikes and shit like that. Looks
Gooigi.
Cool. Gooigi.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Even though I need to play more of and complete the games, I've always been fond of the Luigi's Mansion atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
And just them giving Luigi the chance to be in the spotlight in a game that isn't clearly like a knockoff of like other Mario games. It's his own thing. And I can't help but appreciate that. And they could have gone lazy and just called it like Mario is missing again or some junk and just had him go on a scholastic quest.
Oh, God.
Nah, it's a fun franchise that's unique and enjoyable. The closer we're going to get to a good Ghostbusters game outside of that 360 one from back in the day, which was fantastic.
That's getting a remaster, too.
Wait, is it?
Yeah.
Ooh, deserved, because
Yes.
there was a number of technical problems the game had. A remaster would fix those right up.
Anyway, Luigi's Mansion 3 is going to be hitting sometime in 2019. They didn't give an official date, just said 2019. The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics trailer was shown. A Dark Crystal game.
Tactical RPG. Surprised everybody.
Coming 2019. This one looks crazy.
Honestly, I could see myself snatching that up specifically because I would like to see how they do with it. I want to see a Jim Henson product get some video game love.
Yeah. I love
that.
that.
Maybe if they pull this off, we'll get a Muppet Babies game, a proper Muppet Babies game. They make your dreams come true, or so I hear.
After that, they showed a brand new trailer for Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I cannot wait for this game. Link's Awakening's always been one of my favorite Zelda games. They're going to have customizable dungeons that you can set down and run and get goodies from. It looks really, really cool. It comes out September 20th, so it is just around the corner.
I agree. I'm looking forward to it. Though I will say one thing that drove me nuts. I saw somebody comment earlier today, man, I don't want to why they want with Link's Awakening. It should have been Ocarina of Time. I was like, you son of a bitch. Like, the Link's Awakening deserves this. It deserves to get this re-release. It's been so long since it's been in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And Ocarina of Time has gotten numerous hits and updates and revisions and just re-exposure. So to say that Link's Awakening deserves to take a backseat to another Ocarina of Time release kind of saddens me to hear. The reason why how many other people are thinking that, but hopefully this game does a good job of showing people why Link's Awakening deserves the love that it's going to get from it.
Hell yeah. Dark Mika says, I don't know why they went with that visual style. It looks kind of meh looking. I love the visual style of it.
I agree. Like it's very different. It feels like a dream world sort of thing. Like it's just cartoony. And I always felt that Link's Awakening was obviously it's not Wind Waker, but it's a very cartoony Zelda, all the way down to having all the weird Mario characters in there. Like, it's just different from the typical, your average Zelda game. And I think the art style will stand out well to show that too, or showcase that. Of course, there's also that weird thing with the dungeon creation, which I don't know how that's going to play out. I'm curious about that, but
it looks cool though.
It does. It's almost like the Zelda variant of Mario Maker is like, you think you're so much better at making dungeons? Here, you do it. Have fun. We don't care anymore.
After Zelda, it was Trials of Mana. Seiken Densetsu 3. I have talked about this one on the show a handful of times. It is coming to America in early 2020 and getting a full HD remake in the process.
And the pictures I've seen of it, it looks nice. Like
at
one point, I read people trying to say it's similar to the Secret of Mana one that got done last year, and I was already kind of getting my hopes down. Those screenshots dissolved those. I actually do want that game.
Yeah, it looks good. From what I hear, it is also hitting PS4, obviously. No word on Xbox, though. I don't think that's coming, so fuck us.
No.
How dare we?
Sons of bitches. Not only is it getting a full HD remake, but Collection of Mana, which includes Final Fantasy Adventure, Secret of Mana, and the original Seiken Densetsu 3 Trials of Mana collection out now on the Nintendo eShop.
The one thing I learned, which I didn't realize until my friend told me, is that if you're not one for digitals, it's supposedly getting a physical at the end of the summer if you're not antsy to get it right now.
Yeah.
So I am, and I'm probably going to be that guy who's going to hold out. But
I want it so bad. The big hurdle for me. It's $40.
Yeah, that's the thing that bugged me, but the physical might make that more, palpable.
Yeah.
Because I'm not feeling a $40 digital download either. That just screams wait for a sale.
But to finally get Seiken Densetsu 3 in English in America officially, and I don't have to ROM hack, I'm thrilled. I can't wait to dive into it. I don't know. I need money.
It's one
Quick,
of those
someone
dropped
4,000 biddies.
It's definitely one of those things where it was a long time coming, and so it's good to just see it happen.
Yeah. After Collection of Mana, they showed a trailer. The Witcher 3 is hitting the Switch.
And there's another, forever
How the
lifetime sync.
Fuck can the console run The Witcher 3? I don't get it.
The Switch is more powerful than people give it credit for. And that's not to say they won't take some concessions on reducing some like the extra, visual splendor that the game might have on Xbox One and PS4. So, like, I totally see it being possible. It just won't be as visually splendid. That's all.
Yeah. Coming this year, 2019. So it should be good. Fire Emblem 3 Houses got a new trailer that's coming out July 26th. They announced that Resident Evils 5 and 6 are hitting the Switch this fall. They announced No More Heroes 3 is coming in 2020. I can't fucking wait.
And No More Heroes is legit, so that will be a welcome addition to my collection there.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. I'm so excited. No More Heroes. Contra Road. Yeah. I just can't hide it. I'm so
I know.
scared.
I know. Scared. Like, I know, but I think you like it, and that's okay.
Oh, man. Contra Rogue Core was revealed. It is coming out September 24th of this year. They also announced the Contra Anniversary Collection is out today, motherfuckers. And it's also out on PlayStation and Xbox today as well. So rock the fuck on. I picked it up. I played some Contra. I love it.
I am considering it because I like the idea of Hardcorps finally getting a release on something other than the Genesis. It deserves love, damn it.
Yeah, it does.
A robot and a werewolf.
Daemon X Machina trailer was shown off. That's coming out in September. Panzer Dragoon is coming back.
Deservedly so.
Coming out this winter. I lost it when I saw Panzer Dragoon. Holy shit.
I don't think anyone expected that. I didn't.
All we could do is hope that it does well enough, and then they bring Panzer Dragoon 2, and then Saga. Come on, give us that Saga re-release.
Hell, jump 2 and just give us Saga first, just to get it out of the way.
Yeah, seriously. Jesus, what I would give for Saga. That is my white whale of gaming.
What I wouldn't give to see all the people crying horror as their collector's value go down. Though in reality, it probably won't go down, but they'll believe it will and still cry about it. So yeah. I'll take it.
Pokemon Sword and Shield is releasing November 15th. Astral Chain got a trailer that's releasing August 30th. Empire of Sin got a reveal trailer. This one looks pretty cool. It's like a mob.
I figure going back before we go too far, a thing I learned today that surprised me, the Pokemon thing. So I'm a big player of Pokemon. As you know, it's a popular franchise. Big shock. But what should have been a confirmed slam dunk is getting a fair bit of stink in the community because they announced that they didn't have time to model all of the Pokemon in the game. So it's going to be a cultivated specific set of Pokemon in the game, which I can kind of understand, makes sense, but I've been seeing a lot of people get upset about it. Like, I don't want this game now. You're telling me I can't use the Pokemon I caught in 2004 in your game in 2019? Don't want it. Like,
people are bitches.
They are, people are getting legit upset over it. And my take on it, of course, is like, in my eyes, I'm buying it because I want to play a new Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Period. Like, I don't need to use my old guys in it. Even if they outright come out and say we'll never put them in there, I'm fine with that. I'll still play old ones or whatever. But I definitely don't think it's enough of a reason to just say I'm boycotting this game or whatever. But people are really upset, and I'm wondering how it's going to pan out going forward. Like, because they're clearly, I'm sure they're hearing about it in some channels at this point already. So
yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be an entertaining year for that.
Yeah. Anyway, they showed off a new trailer for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which is coming out July 19th. That one looks really good. Trailer for Cadence of Hyrule, which is coming out this week on the 13th. I am excited for that one as well.
Getting it.
How can you go wrong with Necrodancer mixed with Zelda?
I'm sure someone could have pulled it off, but thankfully Nintendo didn't. And me pull off doing it wrong, I mean.
Yeah.
But one thing worth noting, in case there are folks out there who still don't have Necrodancer, apparently it's on sale on the Switch right now for $4.
Ooh.
So, honestly, I don't have it on the Switch, and I'm probably going to pay that $4 to get the Switch version of it.
Do it up, man.
That's pretty decent.
After that was Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. Comes out this November. And then they showed some footage on the brand new Animal Crossing. It's called New Horizons. It takes place on an island, and I don't like the changes. Like, there's farming and there's crafting, and it's stuff that I don't care about.
Well, I mean, admittedly,
was that not part of Animal Crossing to begin with?
Farming and crafting? No.
Oh, I've never played, so I didn't know.
It's Animal Crossing, which means chances are you'll have the choice whether you want to engage in those things or not. You can probably just ignore them and do the normal stuff you like to do.
Possibly. It looks cute. Comes out March 2020, so I'm excited. I'll still pick it up. I'll still try it. I'm not a fan of crafting. I just don't care about crafting mechanics in games. Cole, you can vouch for that.
Yeah, it's true.
I bitch about crafting all the time on this show.
I don't mind crafting, but it has to be done well. Like, sometimes it can be overbearing.
I'm honestly the opposite in the sense, like, I'm generally a big sucker for crafting. Though, of course, I guess the overbearing that you were saying is a very true thing as a possibility. If you guys are trophy chasers, so you would be interested in that. So the Star Ocean and the Last Hope that you mentioned earlier that is now backwards compatible. That game had a trophy for crafting all the items in the game.
I can't believe you're calling them trophies on Xbox.
I'm so offended.
Oh, God, bloody hell. They're all, I don't care. They're point thingies. You know what I'm saying.
Achievements, man.
There we go.
I'm so offended.
You bastard.
I don't even want to continue this call.
You horrible human being. It has an achievement for getting all the crafting items made. And that is pretty much the achievement that broke me. Like, I was done at that point because the amount of effort that goes into keeping track of every item to make everything, which then can be used to make the next tier of things to get this thing, it is the epitome of horror in crafting. But I can't picture something like Animal Crossing going to those extremes on a crafting system. It'll probably be some very simple stuff like trade your friend's apples trade your apples for your friend's oranges and you can make orange juice. Something like that.
Well, in the trailer, they showed you shaking a tree and picking up sticks. So you have to, like, collect materials to craft. Yeah.
Well, that'll be a trip. Just pick up all the junk off the ground and keep your town. Oh, that might be the thing. Keep your town clean, but instead of just throwing it in the trash, now your trash becomes treasure.
Ooh.
Yeah. Who knows?
So mysterious.
I mean, I think it's like, 2020 is coming out, though, which is a shock to a lot of people that was expecting 2019.
Yeah, they explained that they wanted to have it out in 2019, but to make the best possible game, they needed to delay it into next. It's the standard. It's going to lead to a better game. So as long as the game's good, that's all I care about.
I concur. You can only make the first release once.
Indeed. After Animal Crossing, there was a sizzle reel. I love sizzle reels. They just rapid fire show games. This one was handy because they not only showed games, they showed their release dates or windows. So we're going to rapid fire these sons of bitches. Spyro Trilogy is hitting September 3rd. Hollow Knight Silk Song is, quote, coming soon. Ni no Kuni Remastered is September 20th. Minecraft Dungeons, yes, it's hitting the Switch as well. Spring 2020. Elder Scrolls Blades, Fall 2019. My Friend Pedro, June 20th. Doom Eternal, coming soon. The Sinking City, Fall 2019. Wolfenstein Youngblood, July 26th. Dead by Daylight, September 24th. Alien Isolation, 2019. That's a surprising one.
Yeah, see, honestly, I think that's a very solid lineup. I am looking.
Oh, we're not done. We're not done.
There's more? There's more?
I just hesitated on Alien Isolation to get feedback from my co-hosts.
I am a fan of Isolated Aliens, I have to say.
Crystal Chronicles is hitting winter. Dragon Quest Builders 2, July 12th. Stranger Things 3, July 4th. Just Dance 2020, November 5th. Catan, June 20th.
Catan.
Okay.
I'm going to say what I always say. Where the hell is Cities and Nights? If it's not on there, I can't get down, baby.
I figured you'd be excited about Catan, though.
Yeah,
you love your board
like
games.
Catan. Oh, I sure do. I love Catan, too, but it's... When it came to Xbox all those years ago, I bought it day one. But I bought it under the belief that, they're going to have DLC. They're going to put the expansions on there because it's all about DLC. And they never did. And that game needs it. They got to get on the ball with that. They got to load it up. But if they do, I'm on board.
Anyway, Dauntless is coming late 2019, which I'm excited about. I love Dauntless. Mario Maker 2, June 28th. And then another surprising one, new Super Lucky's Tale, all 2019.
That's a sequel, right?
I don't know if it's a sequel or if it's a remake of or a re-release of the Xbox One game, Super Lucky's Tale.
I am curious because it is a good game.
So that was a curious one to see.
Either way, either they're in for a treat of a game that they didn't have before, or hopefully even better, there's a sequel coming and we'll all get to reap the benefits.
Yeah. After the sizzle reel, there was one more video to play. Banjo-Kazooie is coming to Smash Brothers Ultimate. This is not a drill. This is real life. It is happening this fall. Banjo-Kazooie is going to Smash Brothers.
It was speculated for quite some time, but honestly, I didn't see it coming. Though when they started doing the article was like, seems like Nintendo and Microsoft were cooking up something at E3 this year. It was a couple days ago. So when the first one came out, I was like, my speculation is going to be Banjo-Kazooie and Switch, but it didn't happen. But I was expecting to say something also like Banjo-Kazooie, either a sequel's coming out or they were going to do a Switch port of Banjo-Kazooie 1 and 2. And we were talking about it. The potential for them making a brand new Banjo-Kazooie game on the Switch. And I feel like this might be that one weird thing, that time where it makes sense for them to make it. If they did, it would be cross-platform because it's still a Microsoft studio, right? Like they own Rare.
Yeah.
So they would make bank on doing that. So
I just don't know if Microsoft is going to directly release games on the Switch.
I can see it. Oh, you mean even if it was like a cross-platform, like on Xbox One and the Switch?
Yeah, I don't know if they would do that. I guess we'll see. Anything can happen. Banjo is in Smash, so anything can happen at this point.
I concur. Like it'd be like a nice gesture for them to say, like, "Hey, look, we have the property. We know it's clear that people want more of the property. Either we're going to make a new one exclusively on Xbox One, or fuck it, it's cross-platform. And it's on the Xbox and the Switch." But I would happily eat crow if that happened because it would be a great thing.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a lie. That wasn't the final video. They had one final surprise to show off. Just a quick video clip, and they announced that a sequel to Breath of the Wild is in development, so new Zelda is on the way.
The sequel to It Prints Money is coming.
Yes.
Shocker. Like, I'll admit, when people were losing their shit over it, my thought was, well, I'm glad they're confirming it, but we all knew it was coming. Breath of the Wild sold like gangbusters, and it's still talked about. Like, that game was inevitable.
Carl said no news about Metroid Prime 4. Sadly, no. I guess the delay that they just scrapped it and started over with Retro Studios a couple of months ago. I'm guessing that they just don't have anything to show yet.
Yeah, but we all know it is going to happen. Like, they're not going to just abandon the franchise. So
no, especially now that Retro's involved.
Yeah, just got to play the waiting game.
That is it for E3 Nintendo conference or Nintendo Direct. What did you think, Cole?
I thought it was a little lackluster, but I'm not into Nintendo either, so I get why people were excited about a lot of the stuff, but like you guys said about Breath of the Wild, that wasn't exciting because it was kind of a given.
Yeah.
And like, I would have expected more to be shown of it because you know that had to have already started development on that pretty quickly.
I don't know, because they worked on more content for Breath of the Wild, and Nintendo's not one of those companies that works on something, releases it, and then they have day one DLC. Like, and most of the time they don't do it that way. Like, they actually work and build their DLC after the game launches.
They do it the right way.
Yeah. Pernell, what'd you think of Nintendo?
I gotta say, I am happy for the content that is coming, but I didn't lose my taters over it because much of the stuff that I anticipated already knew was coming down the pike. I will say the Banjo-Kazooie reveal was expected, but still nice to see. Same with the hero from Dragon Quest, because that's been a rumored Smash character for weeks upon months now.
Oh, yeah.
But the implementation of it was a nice surprise. But for the most part, it was basically just reaffirming that I've got good games coming down the pike from Nintendo, but nothing that made me go, holy shit, I didn't see that coming. Like the one I was hoping to see footage on was Shin Megami Tensei 5, which it was a long shot hope, I admit, but it didn't happen. So I was like, okay, well, just hold out.
Yeah, well.
So not excited, but not disappointed either.
Yeah. Well, Cole, we will let you get going. I figure you are exhausted and you are tired, so we will let you go. And Pernell and we still have some reviews to do.
All right.
This will probably be the quickest sort of shot of reviews we've ever done because I'm tired too.
Well, have fun with those.
Buy
guys.
that shit.
Cole, do you have any final words before you hang up?
Division 2.
It's like, I like the Division.
Bye.
Bye.
Catch you later.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I concur. I had a good time there. Hopefully I didn't pull my weight on E3 chatter, because I've never been much for that. I'm always like the guys like, I'm too wait and see, if that makes any sense. I'm always like, people's like, what do you think? I'm like, I'll wait and see. I'm playing like 90 games right now. So I'll wait and see. And then out of nowhere, I wake up next week. Like, I go to Kotaku, this week in games. Holy shit, that's coming out next week? Huh. Didn't see that coming because I fell behind.
Yep. Well, are you ready to start reviews? Because we have 4 games that you are here to talk about, and we're already over 2 hours in.
Yes, let's get this done.
All right. First, the best part is, like, the full episode has 10 reviews on it. So if anyone's actually listening to this episode, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't know it would be this long. I knew it would be long.
This might be the one time I'd almost suggest throw a timestamp, at least like E3 chat review times or something. Just like, if you want to just do reviews, start here.
Yeah.
If you're here for the chat, start here. Because this is some meat and potatoes.
Yeah, a lot of meat and potatoes. But first game to talk about tonight is called Warhammer Chaosbane, developed by Eko Software, published by Bigben Interactive. Released June 4th on Xbox One, PS4, and PC for $59.99. In a world ravaged by war and dominated by magic, you must rise up to face the chaos hordes. Playing solo or with up to 4 in local or online co-op, choose a hero from 4 character classes and prepare for epic battles, wielding some of the most powerful artifacts of the old world. Pernell, tell us about Warhammer.
So, Warhammer, in a nutshell, can be described as a Diablo-style action RPG, but with a narrative that is not from a game you've been playing since 2011, which to me is worth its weight in gold already, just from that alone. But what is the game as a whole? So, beginning of the game, you have to start out by choosing one of 4 characters. You're not creating an avatar. These are characters that have their own pre-built lore and character designation. Amongst them, I ended up going with the Wood Elf because I'm a sucker for archers and archer-like tactics or banter. But after you select your character, you then are prompted to listen to an intro where the game, and it actually has a pretty famous narrator whose name is eluding me. If you booted it up at any point, you can tell me if you know who it was.
I don't remember.
It's a narrator's voice that I totally recognize. I'm sure listeners would too. But he basically is like a quick narration of like the overall plot of the Warhammer universe, and gives like a brief rundown of like who your character is and how they fit into this atmosphere. And then after that's all done, they just kind of throw you right into the world where you pretty much find yourself playing through a narrative of a series of missions related to the story where your character is tasked with fulfilling objectives provided by, in my character's case, the High Elf, to progress the story and save the hero of the realm who has been cursed by an evil sorceress. Gameplay, you have a series of buttons. All of your buttons on the controller ultimately end up being corresponding to different abilities. Various attacks you can earn, some that you start with, others you unlock as you level up your character. And when you level up and earn these abilities, you can affix the abilities to your buttons and then use them at will. Some characters, well, actually every character, have attacks that just are free to use and cost you nothing. Other attacks require you to use basically a currency similar to MP, basically like mana. And as you use the ability, they will burn out and it regenerates slowly on its own, and then you can use your skills again. Though the cool thing about the Wood Elf character that I'm using is that when she has like a extra like little wood nymph that flies around her, and it just kind of does its own thing, just flying around. But eventually it might start to glow, and if it glows and you run up to it, it will regenerate your actual MP for you. Oh, so it's cool. Like, yeah, I like it. It's a very interesting mechanic that kind of incentivizes you to just go bonkers and burn through your abilities because you can just follow the fairy and get more. So the game is following a sequence of going through dungeons, usually from the main hub world, where the game will say, for example, like, all right, you need to go to the city and save these townsfolk who are under siege by this tyrant. So the game will pretty much just say, go to this location, and it'll show you on the map the entrance to the location from the main hub you're starting in. And once you go there and press A, it will give you the opportunity to just select the level and proceed to engage in it. That's considered the main quest. But there are also other things you can unlock as you play further in the game, such as like free run levels where they're randomly generated and they're purchased using a currency called gold crown, which you'll earn throughout the game. And there's also boss rushing, which I didn't honestly bother with too much because I was too busy just playing expeditions and playing the main game. So when you go into the dungeons, aside from the face buttons that I mentioned to you before, there's also something called an innate action archetype skill that the character has, and it's attributed to the right thumbstick. Every character has their own, and it's unique to the character types in the game. And my character in particular, though it's kind of odd that this was their version, but I guess the other ones are like weird things. Like I know there's one like a dodge, like a shield dash, where you run forward and you smash enemies with the shield that's in your hand. But my character had something called a tactical roll, which is just meant to roll and evade. So I put that to use because it is essentially allows my character to be like a run, fire, roll out of the way, wash, rinse, repeat sort of character. So aside from that, there's also the usual looting systems. You have a variety of different slots available to your character. If I remember correctly, we're talking like 10 or 11 different slots you can equip stuff into. It's a lot of slots. And as you run around, you'll find loot either from killing monsters or in treasure chests. The rarity and traits for those items being based on the difficulty that you are currently playing. Higher the difficulty, the better the loot you can find. And when you go on those inventory screens, you can compare, contrast, some items being better than others or worse than others. You can equip them at will. You can also hoard a bunch of crap, because you will find a lot of crap, because this is, again, a Diablo-style action RPG.
Yep.
But this game has a lot of dungeon loot. But there's this weird element to the game that they have. It's a guy called a collector, and you can take a bunch of the junk items to him and just dump them. And as you do that, you'll build up a sort of experience level with him. And as you give him more stuff, he'll give you rewards. So it's an excuse to hoard your stuff and then dump it to the collector. And in addition to that, you can also trade stuff for other stuff. But that unlocks later on. It doesn't start that way. You get that option later on as you play in the game. But I kind of like the fact that it gives you something to do with your stuff aside from just generic sell it all to the shop. At least it goes towards boosting a meter of some sort, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the game is a fairly solid flowing game. Unfortunately, though, I guess, again, in the vein of Diablo, was in that case of the game, too, so this isn't like it's unique to this. But unfortunately, the downside that made me kind of sad was that this isn't like a world exploration game. You're not going to a world map and exploring the countryside and then going to new locations and stuff. You are literally going up to a dude who says, go to that place and kill a bunch of shit. And you're going to wash, rinse, repeat that ad nauseum until you are done. And then you will spend gold crowns to unlock new expeditions to do it again and again in new areas to get better and better loot, to get stronger and stronger and kills harder and harder monsters.
See, I don't see that so much as a negative because I kind of don't mind more mindless games of like, go here, do this, come back, do this, go here, do this. As long as the gameplay's fun. My gripe was that the locations, like, I didn't want to go back to the same sewer for the 15th time.
Yeah, and I can understand that too. Like, it's a weird thing. Like, to me, the locations, it is annoying. Like, you want to see new spots more often. You don't want to constantly revisit places. But I will say the feeling of murking guys in those locations never really got old for me. So I was able to kind of breeze through the repeat location situations with the mindset just being kill and get more loot, kill and get more loot. Though I did feel that, I'm not sure if this was unique to this game or if Diablo was this way and I haven't played it so long I forgot, but I felt the enemy variety in some of the levels was lacking.
Yeah.
Like, you're fighting like the same like 3 guys across the entire zone. And you're like, okay, I can stand for more monsters now. I want some variety in who I'm murdering here. But
yeah, there was a lot of repetition in Chaosbane, and I don't like saying it because, like, I dropped $90 on the special edition for this thing that still hasn't shown up, by the way. Love shipping delays, but I was let down by the game. It was just so repetitive, and you keep going to the same areas over and over. It just felt so bare bones and lackluster. I mean, it's still fun, but it's not what I hoped it would be.
Like, you wanted more.
Yeah.
And it's weird in that regard because, again, like, I agree with the areas problem, though I want to try to give it the benefit of the doubt in one aspect in that regard, which is that, again, it's trying to do Diablo, but with the Warhammer coat of paint.
Yeah.
So Diablo, when you play through Diablo 3, even though you go to different places, the way the chapters break down, you spend a lot of time in respective locations, more time than you do in individual locations in this game. So, like, we were talking about the sewers earlier. It's like, man, I want to go back to the sewer because I want to move on and go somewhere new. And I agree. However, if you look at, like, say, how long you spent in the desert of, like, Diablo 3, that desert area took quite a while. And even though you went to, like, different caves and stuff, it was caves of different names that looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
And you did it for a long period of time. But the thing that made it stick around, so you were like, okay, even though I'm doing this, I'm okay with it, is just the fact that you enjoyed the combat so much that you were just like, I want the loot, I want to kill the new guys, I want to just keep at this until I'm ready to move on to the next zone.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like this game is just doing more of that. They're exactly trying to do that. That's not to say they couldn't have done it better, but I just wanted to make sure I made that statement because I didn't want them to get that, like, a criticism that didn't exist in this competition, so to speak.
Yeah, which is fair. But as it stands, $60 on Chaosbane. What do you think of it?
I think it's primarily more on the try it scale because I still find that, like, Diablo is a better game. But I also feel like we've been playing that game for so long that when I got this review code in, I wanted to play something different. And I feel like this game is that. It's the gameplay style you love, graphically nice, but it's in a different universe with a different plot, which means you got new abilities to learn and master and new
skill tree to master.
Exactly. And honestly, the skill tree, this is pretty cool because in addition to the normal skills, you do also get a massive build where you can kind of allocate points to stuff akin to like how Path of Exile does it. So there is a fair bit of meat and potatoes to the customization of your character too. So I think it's got those things crossed and those P's and Q's crossed. Just be ready for that repetition of zones until you get to the next general area and so on and so forth. But killing guys will not be boring. I can assure you of that.
I agree with you. I still give it a try. I have some gripes with the game, but it's still a fun game, and that's what matters in the end. The game is fun. It's entertaining. I might say $40 is a better price on the game, but that's not for me to decide. That said, it's still fun, so try it. It's fun.
And get your friends involved, because who doesn't like killing monsters with a friend?
Yeah, online co-op. And the online works pretty well, too.
And if you don't like killing monsters with a friend, who the hell are you?
A monster themselves.
You became the monster.
You are the monster within. Anyway, next game to talk about is called Timespinner, developed by Lunar Ray Games, published by Chucklefish, released June 4th on Xbox One and Switch for $19.99. Travel back in time to change fate itself in this beautifully crafted, story-driven adventure inspired by classic 90s action platformers. Join timekeeper Lunace on her, or Lunace? Do you know how it's pronounced?
They don't say it, but I would go with Lunace.
Okay, Lunace on her quest for revenge against the empire that killed her family, using time-bending powers to explore a vast connected world. Pernell, tell us about Timespinner.
I love how they say various 90s or action platformers. They should just say Symphony of the Night, because that's exactly what it is.
And Super Metroid.
Isn't bad. Oh, no. I know you're thinking and Super Metroid, but I'm talking like when you take the aesthetics, the menus, the fonts.
True.
They were gunning Symphony of the Night, like no question.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing, because this game is on point. Very legitimate, fun game. So the way it works out is, whereas Castlevania Symphony of the Night had you running through two castles, this game will ultimately have you running through two timelines, or two time periods, a past and a present. So there's you'll go to a location that has a past version and a present version, and you'll be doing that quite a bit throughout the game. Originally, through the way the story being told, you're stuck in the past. But eventually you gain the ability to go between the past and the present using time gates or warp doors. And what ends up happening here is, as you're doing this, you're trying to ultimately solve the because there's no damn mystery. You're trying to avenge your family who were killed by the evil empire, because it's always an evil empire, at the very beginning of the game, so that's not a spoiler. And you are doing so by making use of a cool weapon system, in that there are no weapons in this game. Like, you don't go and find the Calamity Sword or whatever. What you do get are orbs. Each orb represents a different property. Like, let's say one might be called the Fire Orb, one might be called the Blade Orb, and then there's generic ones like the Iron Orb too. But point is, they're orbs, and when you equip them, they have different properties. Like, if you've ever played Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, or Order of Ecclesia, that gives you a very good idea of how the orbs work, where they feel more like magical weapons or magical powers when you equip them, as opposed to just real normal weapons.
Yeah.
You can equip up to 2 orbs at a time, either 2 of the same orb or different ones. And when you press the attack button, you'll use both orbs in succession. So if you have, say, the blue orb on and the blade orb, you'll swing the blade, then throw the blue orb. But if you have 2 blade orbs or blue orbs on, you'll just throw both orbs almost at the exact same time, like a cool combo running. There's also items that you modify the orb property, so you might get a item that puts blades around the orbs if you want to have that, so now the orbs can kind of hit things that come close to you and do damage to them. And you'll also get items that give you a super move. So even though I found multiple, I still ended up finding myself sticking with one that's like a giant blade that kind of does an arcing motion and comes down, which is good for hitting jerks on the ceiling or guys that are just kind of out of reach. But the gameplay of this game is honestly a lot of fun. The music in it is on point. If I'm not mistaken, the composer's name is Jeff Ball.
Yep, he's been on the show before.
Has he?
Yep.
Well, he is a beast of a composer, and I'm glad he was on this show, because he knocked it out of the park with this damn game. And it sets the mood for every area that you go to visit. It's a gem. You get the usual area traversal abilities that you do get in these Metroidvania-style games, the double jump, the dashes, Your character defaults with a backdash, thankfully, so you press the trigger button and your character dashes backwards, so an easy evasion. And you have the time stop mechanic, which is worth noting that I should, because that's a unique aspect of the game. That's why it's called Timespinner. But when you press one of the buttons on the controller, you will activate Time Stop. Time Stop is functioning based on a sand gauge that's in the upper left corner. The more sand you've got, the longer you can freeze time. But eventually, you'll run out of sand, time will come back to normal, and if you're in a precarious position, you're kind of boned. But if used effectively, You can use time stop to evade enemies that would otherwise have knocked you the heck out. You can use enemies as stepping stones to reach hard-to-reach locations, and so on and so forth. Also, I like the element of like freezing platforms before they collapse so you can run across them. They put it to use in a number of different ways to make platforming a little bit extra fun and make you think of more clever ways to access locations that you otherwise wouldn't be able to access in normal games that didn't have this mechanic. The only gripe I have, because I had to find something, is similar to what we said about Chaosbane. The enemy variety in this game sometimes feels a little lacking, though it did make me wonder if Symphony of the Night also had lacking enemy variety in certain areas, and I just didn't care. Because it didn't ultimately ruin the game. I still had a lot of fun playing it. It was just a couple of times where I found myself going, man, I'm really tired of fighting these chickens with bouncing spring butts or random, like these same 3 soldiers or whatever. You wanted to see more in the environments you were in. But I never stopped having fun killing them. I just wanted to see more. That's all. So just worth pointing that out. But as a game of this vein, I think they did a phenomenal job with it. It is a game that, honestly, I've played on PC, and I'm enjoying it on Xbox and new. It's a good game.
And your official verdict for $20?
I think it's a gung-ho purchase. Worth every penny.
I agree with you. I didn't review this one because I kickstarted it, so I didn't want any kind of conflict of interest. I'm excited that I got my collector CD sent in the mail. I love the game. It's great. It's a lot of fun. I'm excited that it came to Xbox and Switch. I wish I could have backed it for Xbox initially, but oh well. But yeah, I agree. It's a buy it.
Honestly, I heard it was in Kickstarter land for a long time. Was Xbox One out when it was originally in Kickstarter?
Yeah, because it was initially for PS4 and Vita.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was under the impression it was around like when Shovel Knight was in Kickstarter. And as you know, Shovel Knight was kickstarted back when the Wii was a thing.
Fuck, it might be. It might be so old that I don't remember. 14. Like, when was 2014? No, I guess that was before. Well, it was never planned for Xbox 360 either, so the point still stands. So it probably was
always for the one. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad it's here now. But next game to talk about is called SteamWorld Quest, Hand of Gilgamech, developed by Image and Form Games, published by Thunderful, released May 31st on Steam for $24.99. Lead a party of aspiring heroes through a beautifully hand-drawn world in intense battles using only your wits and a handful of cards. Take on whatever threat comes your way by crafting your own deck, choosing from over 100 unique punch cards. Pernell, tell us about SteamWorld Quest.
A game that I am very glad I was able to review right after reviewing Slay the Spire. I can tell you that much. So this game is a RPG, turn-based RPG that uses a card battle mechanic. So the idea is that the gameplay takes place over the course of chapters. Each chapter being kind of like, think of it like a dungeon, because a chapter will be, okay, running around this particular location, finding treasure chests, and ultimately reaching a boss, killing it, and moving on. When you're playing the game, the idea is that you have up to 3 party members at any one time in your group. You'll find additional party members which will allow you to switch them in and out so that you're not stuck with the same 3 guys. But you'll have at max 3 party members in your party at a time. Each party member can have, well, not can, they will have a player deck that can have up to 8 cards in it. Actually, I take that back. It has to have 8 cards in it. No more, no less. And the cards are unique only to that character. So whether the cards that you start the game with when you meet the character, or there are cards you can buy or craft at the shop, they will always be cards that only that character has. Now, when you come across an enemy in the field and go into combat, you are settled with the opportunity to equip up to 3 skill cards to use in combat per turn. Now, there are multiple types of cards. There are some that are free to use, and they have a different attack or magic ability. There are some cards that are potentially costly, and they will cost you resources that are generated by using the free cards. And then there are also cards that are free but also don't generate skill costs. And they run the gamut of attack cards, heal cards, assist cards, whatever. So you're trying to amass the right set of combination of attack cards or whatever you need at the time cards to get you through a round and kill guys as effectively as possible. However, there are a few cool little quirks to the game that they add to make using cards, more of a art than just use the most powerful crap. So, for example, when the cards are drawn from the deck, like I said earlier, each character has 8 cards in the pile, but then they're all shuffled together, and as you draw cards, you can get cards from any of your party members in your hand that you draw. If you are able to use 3 cards that all are assigned to one character, you will unlock a 4th attack that is based on whatever weapon that character has equipped. So one that I use way longer than I had any business using is the default mage's combo. So if you use 3 of her abilities together, she'll unlock a 4th ability, which gives everybody a shield, which can absorb some damage, which now you're hearing that, you should know why I was using it for so freaking long. So you might find yourself sitting on a card that does a lot of damage, but ultimately say, rather than use this super card, I'm going to use these 3 weak cards because I want the character's 4th ability to get triggered. So that's one thing. In addition to that, there is also an ability where some cards have what's called a follow support bonus. So the card might be usable by one person, but it has a note on it in the corner with a character's face on it, which implies that if that character uses an attack before this new card gets used, the new card will do additional damage or have a bonus effect, like poison or something. So that incentivizes you to have certain characters in your party together so that their cards can come up, which will allow you to have those kinds of combinations. And most importantly is dying in this game. If your character dies in your party, then what ends up happening is that every card that would have been in their deck becomes dead. So if you draw cards that belong to a dead character, you can't use them, which means you're just getting less cards to use in a turn, which is a bad thing. So it means you got to be real careful about letting your characters die in combat. You can revive them with items, though it'll cost you a turn to use an item, but you don't want characters to die in this game because it leaves you in quite the bind.
Yeah.
But is it fun to deal with these limitations, and is it fun to make these card combos, and is it fun to look and craft new cards? You goddamn right it is.
I was going to say, I'm going to guess yes.
It is. It's very fun. I found great joy in getting new cards and putting them on characters and just going through these general battle sequences. Though I will say that every time I found new cards, whereas I said in Slay the Spire, you started with 8 and you just earned more and you were like, hey, what does this new card do? Can't wait to equip it. This game, since you're always limited to 8 per character, every new card, if you're analysis paralysis prone, will leave you sitting there going, what can I stand to remove from the deck? I want to use the new attack, but I can't get rid of anything because this is so effective. So there were more than a few times where I found myself just wishing I could decide on what the hell to put on my character. In addition to that, you might find yourself with a character who could be a healer, or he could be a fighter, or he can be a supporter, because all of his cards can work for any of those. Not all of his cards, but he has decks of card options that can make him work for any of those things. But again, you can only have 8 cards. So you're debating, what kind of character should this guy be? I want that really cool attack, but he's clearly a better healer. What the hell do I do? Analysis paralysis. That's what you'll do. But just because I am analysis paralysis prone doesn't mean the game is bad. It just means I need to get over my shit and make a decent deck.
Yes.
This game is a lot of fun. I like the fact that, like, you remember how earlier you mentioned how sometimes you like to be able to just kill things and move on and not wander a massive world or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that about this game, because by having it be chapter based, I know that each area is a specific map that I can explore, and when I'm done, I move on to the next map. And if I want to feel like I'm exploring and looking for secrets, every area has a treasure chest count. And if you get to the end of the chapter and you haven't gotten every treasure chest, the game allows you to go back to the previous chapters to look for chests that you missed. Or just grind experience if you feel the need to do that as well. And you can leave the chapter at any time. So if you feel as though you barely beat a boss and you want to grind it up so you can actually kick the crap out of other bosses, you can just go back to the chapter and do it again.
Nice.
And again. Or you can just move forward if you want to just knock it out. But regardless of what approach you take, you will take an approach that is suitable for you in a game that experience that will prove to be utter joyful and fun. Dialogue's a little humorous. I will say I didn't dig the universe as much as I'd say SteamWorld dig, or SteamWorld Heist, but it's still on par, at least, with those universes. It's fun and enjoyable.
Well, then $25 on it. What do you say?
I say it's a deny it. This game is not enjoyable. I had no fun whatsoever playing it, and every minute was painful.
This game is Pernell.
Wah, wah, wah. No, this game is a solid buy. I think it's a recommended title. I honestly want to say I recommend buying it and Slay the Spire together because goddamn, this is all I feel like I even need for card combat games. They're great games.
Nice. Speaking of combat.
You and your damn segues. Speaking of words.
Speaking of combat, the last game you're here to talk about is called Super Blood Hockey, developed by Lauren Lemke and Eko Software, published by Digerati, released June 4th on PS4, 7th on Xbox One for $14.99. Arcade sports gaming gets a shot of adrenaline in Super Blood Hockey, a violent homage to the classic 8 and 16-bit ice hockey games. Customize your lineup and take to the ice using fast-paced skills and bone-crunching brutality to dominate. Pernell, tell us about Super Blood Hockey.
Super Blood Hockey is what would happen if you took Nintendo Hockey and Blaze of Steel, combined the two together, and added a lot of pixelated blood to it. Because that's really what the game is. And to me, that is actually a very good thing because it's a fun title to play. It is very simple. You run around the ice. You have, I want to say it's 3 or 4 players. 4 players on the ice typically. No, sorry, 3 players on the ice and then the goalie. There it is. Stupid numbers. And your goal is to play hockey, get goals. You have a shoot button, a pass button, and a check button. Pass, you can charge the pass up to shoot the puck to your teammates faster. Though one thing I found funny is that if you overcharge the puck and then launch, you'll actually knock your partner out. So you can't just kind of willy-nilly hold it down till max and then launch the puck. Dude, I'm sure that may annoy some people, but I think that's worth it.
I hit my partners with the puck so many times during the tutorial. It was fucking hilarious. I was in tears laughing just from smacking my teammates with a puck. I loved it.
And they go right the hell down too. This game does not play. So you'll be knocking your teammates down with the puck. Unfortunately, the goalie's damn near invincible, like they all in every freaking hockey game. So you're not taking the goalie out, but you can take out your opponents or your teammates with charged pucks. And there's also the shot button. So you're pretty much trying to line up charged shots after getting a decent pass to confuse the goalie. The check button is pretty much Blades of Steel, but you have more control over triggering fights. So you can just go up to a dude and just punch him. I want to check this guy. And if you do enough checks, because you will knock them down already. You'll hit the guy, you'll knock him down, kick the puck. But if you hit the same guy too many times, you'll trigger an all-out stadium brawl, which results in every player fighting. And then you're mashing the button to knock each other out.
That is amazing.
It's a lot of fun. And if you hurt a guy enough, the ref will call it, and you'll go back to your position to resume play, but their player will still be recovering. So it kind of gives you a power play to try to get more shots off while they're still short a player or two. So it almost incentivizes you to get in the brawls. However, of course, they can go the opposite direction. You can get the tar beat out of you, and then you'll be the one that's shorthanded.
Mm-hmm.
Gameplay-wise, like from the normal perspective of the game, that is pretty much the game and all of its simplicity, but it's glorious simplicity. However, there is also a weird franchise mode. Oh, before I get into the franchise mode, there's also like a challenge mode, which I thought was pretty nifty. It's only like 5 or so challenges, but each challenge is a different condition, like playing without the ability to switch between teammates or play with sped up controls. But if you win these challenges, you unlock new customization features for matches like puck friction and increase number of players on the rink, on the ice. Cool stuff like that. It's nice little extra content for the game to extend the life of it. But in addition to what I was mentioning before, there's also a franchise mode in the game. It's a little weird story of sorts where you become the coach of a team and you have to draft inmates from prison to join your hockey team, because that's clearly what hockey coaches do. And you have to manage your players. So, and also manage the income you get, which your income comes from winning matches. But what ends up happening is you have to manage your players' stats, being like passing, shooting, control, speed, things like that. And you do this in a variety of ways. One is by just choosing a class of hockey player when you go to draft your team. So there's a variety of different classes, such as like brawler and like sniper, and they're all just meant to correspond to like various stats. Like the sniper is better at passing and shooting, and the brawler is better at stamina and fighting. So you're working on those, and that determines how their stats will level up when they level up. Did I say level up? Yes, they get experience. There you go.
Yay.
As they play more matches, they also get experience. And in addition to that, you can also train them in with gym facilities, and the gym facilities will increase and improve their stats. And you even have to control their diet, because depending on how your players eat, they'll get fatter or thinner. Fatter players do more damage, but they're slower, and vice versa for thinner players. They get the tar beat out of them, but they're fast on the ice. So you're balancing all those things out. And your players can die, too. Your players die, they get thrown in the trash, literally, and then you draft a new player.
That is amazing.
It's ridiculous as shit, but it's a great game. It's an enjoyable little wacky title, like side game that you can play. Because honestly, I don't see people really buying this for the franchise, but if you do buy the game, the franchise is fun. Like, it's a good time. So it's more like a sweet, sweet extra to the simple, bloodstained gameplay you're coming in to initially purchase. If you were a fan of games, like I said, like Blaze of Steel, and I can say from personal experience, I still am a fan of Blaze of Steel. Many years later, I still play it with friends. This game is on the money. The music is on point. The gameplay is on point. It's a solid game, and it's easy to teach because you really are just passing, shooting, and beating the tar out of each other. So I honestly think it's a solid little run of a game. Have you heard of it prior to this, by the way? By any chance?
Prior to the review, I got some press releases about it, but it wasn't really on my radar. After playing it, it is so goddamn fun and funny to just beat the shit out of each other.
Yes, it friggin' is. And I like how they actually do the whole like googly eye animation when they get knocked on the ground and they can't get back up. It's like it's a gem of a game. And one I didn't even expect to come down the pike. He was like, "You want to review this game called Super Blood Hockey? What the hell is that?" Clearly, the answer is fun.
Well, then $15 on it. What do you say?
I think it's a good buy of a game. It is worth your money, especially if you're interested in the stuff that I mentioned earlier, because this game feels like those two games had a fun, fantastic baby, and they just we're waiting for you to coddle it. That is all.
Awesome. Sounds good. Pernell, it is always a pleasure having you on. Thank you for joining me for the E3 discussion. It's been almost 3 hours. Holy shit.
Yes.
This is going to be a long show. I'm sorry, everyone. There's still another hour of show to go. So buckle up because there's some more reviews. Pernell, do you have any final words?
I'm going to bed. Also, enjoy the rest of E3 because I think there's like 2 more days left or a day left when this episode comes out.
All right, moving on. Jacob Garner's here. Jacob, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
I am stressed with all the E3 stuff going on.
Yeah, I've been paying attention to like some of it, but not a lot. I mean, all the heavy hitting news that I was expecting, has occurred. Majesco still has yet to announce any sequel to Advent Rising.
Does Majesco still exist?
I don't think so, which might be why it wasn't announced.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I don't know. Fair. They might still exist. I don't know.
They might just be a holding company. I'm not sure.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. So there's that. No Mass Effect announced, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But like some of the stuff looks sweet, like Cyberpunk 2077 looks awesome.
Oh god, yeah, and Keanu Reeves being in it.
Yeah, that looks awesome. Crap. What the heck else was it? Oh, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Holy shit, that looked incredible.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
I know, I'm pretty stoked. You need to get me a review copy.
We don't get first-party Microsoft stuff, so good luck on that one.
Have you tried getting Microsoft Flight Simulator? Did you try getting it?
You're a schmuck.
See?
Well, I'll tell you now, don't get your hopes up.
all I'm doing is just telling you to, like, you know, keep trying, and you know, you can achieve anything.
Yeah, okay.
Except get Mortal Kombat as a review copy or a Seagate hard drive.
bitch. It's like you're not here to review a game to begin with.
What?
Should we get to that, by the way?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, we might
probably
as well
talk about it.
All right. Well, the next game to talk about tonight is called MotoGP 19, developed and published by Milestone, released June 6th on Xbox One, PC, and PS4 for $49.99. Race with the official 2019 championship riders. Have fun with the new multiplayer experience and become race director. Challenge the new AI, take a ride through the history of MotoGP, and unleash your creativity with the graphics editors. Jacob, tell us about MotoGP 19.
Well, you're on a motorcycle.
Helpful.
And you drive it around on a track like a bunch of times. Sometimes you're going in circles. Sometimes, you know, you're going in hairpins. All right, seriously though,
you're an ass.
All right, so pretty much, I mean, some of, you know, our many listeners will remember that I also reviewed the Monster Energy motocross game, which was that also made by Milestone? I don't remember.
I believe so.
I thought it was, but it played out very similar to it. Like, if you like, let me just get this out of the way. If you're expecting like an arcade kind of video game, this game is not for you. It's for people who know what they're doing with motorcycles, or at least are like learning quite a bit about them. And it's just the game does not hold your hand at all. You know, it tries to do as good of a simulation as it can. And I thought it was, I mean, granted, I've never ridden on a motorcycle or, you know, dirt bike, any of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I don't know how true to life it seems, but, you know, you have to take a lot of things into consideration with it. It is a simulator, kind of like, it reminded me a lot of the F1 game that I had to review.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, there are so many parts in play. And one of the cool things that I found was that when you're in your career mode, of course, you know, you're supposed to start at the bottom, you know, this plucky young, you know, motorcycle driver who, you know, has to get his sponsorships, and he's working with his team, and he has to prove himself, you know, until he becomes the champion. You know, standard storyline. Mm-hmm. But what I thought was pretty cool is that it's just like you're working, like you can work with your team, and like they have these things where I guess they're like trial runs on the track, and the thing is, like, you do it like days before the big race. And
like the free practice races and the qualifying and stuff like that.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And what was really cool is that, like, you could do a lap and then meet with your team and then be like, oh, well, you know, I think the steering's a little loose. Like, you know, like the steering's a little loose. I was having problems. You know, were you going around turns when this happened? Was it like, or was it just wobbly period? And like, it gives you all this, like, what did you think of it? And then the team will quickly make changes to your bike, and then you go in, like, you could go around on another track, and like you could fine tune the motorcycle to how you need it to be. And I thought that was pretty cool, because, you know, obviously people who are into this kind of stuff, like, they've got all sorts of styles, like they know exactly what they want with their bike. And so I really enjoyed that customization level with it. I'll be perfectly frank, I suck at this game. You know, which is a shocker of this, you know, podcast. Yeah, pretty much I suck at every game I review, but that's okay.
Yeah, the good thing is the game has a lot of assists that can help you out.
Oh my god, there's so many assists. Like,
it's unbelievable how precise you can set the opponent AI. Like, it's not just like easy, medium, difficult, hard.
Right.
It's a slider from like 20 to 100.
Right, there's that, and then also, like, you know, again, with all the assists, like, you can, like, you know, do you need assists to going around curves? Like, do you want this to, like, show up on the screen while you're going around, like, to show, the optimal way to go around that curve. Like, kind of standard stuff. I mean, because I remember the motocross, the Monster Energy game also had this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this is more track based, and it's just like there's a lot. I mean, there was a lot to it, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it, even though I am god awful at this game. I think the people like who are really like into like motocross, motorcycle racing, all that kind of stuff, I think they're going to be the ones that really appreciate this. Because the thing is, I don't want to call it a simulation game, but that's kind of what it feels like. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, yeah, it is racing, but there's just as much of a simulation aspect to the game.
It's definitely a very deep game.
Yeah, I just thought it was deep is actually a great word for that. Yeah, I just thought it was fantastic with like how far the game goes. And yeah, it's just I was really impressed with it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to try out the multiplayer. The couple times that I tried to hop on with it, there was nobody there, so I don't know how it plays. But I mean, I'd say I would assume it's going to be pretty fun. Like, I mean, if you're into that kind of stuff. So
yeah. I played 2 or 3 online races. I got my ass handed to me, but I had fun with it. I didn't have any kind of connection issues. I didn't have any kind of lag or latency, so it performed well.
Nice.
It played well. Finding a full race was kind of a challenge because the game is still fairly new.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it's not my kind of game, but I could totally understand the audience for it. And I would recommend it to them. And I would recommend it to our listeners to at least give it a try. I don't know. Do these games ever show up on Game Pass or anything like that?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, okay. And it still annoys the crap out of me that like demos aren't a thing anymore.
I know, but you can't really do anything about that these days.
Yeah, I know. So it's just like if you've got GameFly, is there a physical release for this game? I would assume that there is. Yeah. If you've got something like GameFly or even like, borrow it off a friend or something, give it a shot. I think it's definitely worth your time.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you for how customizable it is. It's something that even new beginners can get into and still have a fun time with. Even if you get your ass handed to you for a little bit, it's something that you could get into and get comfortable with and enjoy. The graphics editors give it a whole new level of customization, which is there for the people who are super creative, which I am not.
You know what? That's actually another thing, too. We didn't even discuss the graphics. The graphics are gorgeous.
Oh, this is a beautiful game, especially in 4K on my TV.
I was about to say, man. I'm sure it looks great on yours.
Oh,
I mean,
stunning.
It looks pretty good on mine. So, yeah, it's definitely a beautiful game as well.
Awesome. So, overall, $50 on this one. What is your official verdict?
Personally, I wouldn't go for that price, but I'm also not the target audience. Which, I'm fine with, whatever. For $50 brand new, if you are this game's target audience, absolutely. If you're into motorcycle racing, any kind of realistic racing, absolutely. If you're looking for an arcade title, you're going to come away a tad disappointed, but there's still enough to keep you going. You got your ass handed to you plenty of times on the game. I definitely got my ass handed to me plenty of times on the game, yet I was still having fun with it.
Oh, yeah. So, I could definitely see myself coming back to this one some more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love these games. I have such a fun time with Milestone games.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I've played 2 of their games. Yeah, they did do the Monster game, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's 2 of their games that I've been reviewing, and it's just like both of them are incredibly solid games. I mean, I don't know how they do on the sales charts, but it's just like you'd think you'd hear more about them. Like, these are fantastically built games. So I mean, I definitely recommend it.
Awesome. Sounds good. Jacob, always a pleasure having you on chatting about this stuff. Do you have any final thoughts before we move on?
man, once again, I really got to like start thinking of things to talk about at the end of these because, yeah, I don't know. I didn't come in with anything. Did you?
It's not my spot for final words. It's your.
I know, but like, maybe
why the hell would I have something to talk with?
I don't know.
This isn't supposed to be a final discussion. It's supposed to be a final, like, thanks for listening and I'll talk to you next time. Or, I had a really fun time with this game, so check it out. Or just final words, just a couple of words.
Maybe like we could have a final discussion about something. Maybe we could do that.
You don't know how long this fucking show is.
That's not my problem. Maybe I want to spend time with you, Joe. Do you ever think of that? Do you ever think of my needs?
Never.
You son of a bitch. I'm breaking up with you.
All right, moving on. Tim Ekibus is here. Tim, how are you doing?
Good. Hey, I'm back.
You are back. It's been a couple of weeks. Where have you been?
It's been exactly 1 month. I noticed, based on our Skype history, the last time I messaged you that I was here for a recording. It was exactly May 7th, and it's June 7th right now. So, yeah, it took a bit of a sabbatical, I guess.
Did you have fun in your time off?
Yeah. I had some stuff to get done around the house, and played some Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age.
Nice.
Quite a bit of that. So yeah. So yeah, and yeah, now I'm back in the grind. June, new month. Kind of took May to do other stuff and recharge, and now here we go.
Here we go, indeed. Are you ready to do these?
I'm ready to go. Let's talk about some Guilty Gears.
Yeah, you have 2 Guilty Gear games to talk about. The first one is Guilty Gear, developed and published by Arc System Works, released May 16th on the Switch for $9.99. The origin of the series, the abnormality of the fighting game genre, now returns. Heaven or hell, let's rock. Tim, tell us about Guilty Gear.
Okay, so Guilty Gear is a PlayStation 1 game that I don't think a ton of people played at the time. Most people jumped on the Guilty Gear train starting with Double X on PS2. I, haughty hipster that I am, jumped on the Guilty Gear train with importing via stealing off the internet Guilty Gear X for the Dreamcast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I didn't know what Guilty Gear was. I just downloaded it, and I was like, oh, holy shit, this game's awesome. But yeah, and then at some point, I learned of the existence of, or remembered the existence of Guilty Gear. I imagine I must have seen a screenshot in a magazine or something like that. Anyways, if you've only played Guilty Gears after that, it is kind of the prototype of that. If you've never played a Guilty Gear, it is a cool but very mid-90s fighting game. Like base Guilty Gear, you only have 10 characters. The character models themselves are... It's kind of a weapons fighter, I guess, is fair to say. Each character has a weapon. It's you have like your heavy slash, regular slash, punch, I think is the third button. And then there's a kick. Everyone has super attacks. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward, and especially, this version of it, it doesn't have like a lot of bells and whistles. It's pretty much just like arcade mode, versus mode. I think there's like a training mode, and that's it. So it's a pretty, it's not like the most robust fighting game in the world. It's not like it's been updated, modes haven't been added, characters haven't been added. It is just the game from the mid 90s. And it plays pretty well still. Going back to it, I was definitely like, oh wow, they added a lot when they moved to Guilty Gear X. I mean, the outside of just the graphical upgrade, just kind of the character move sets are a lot larger in the sequels than they are in the original. Like, it's very much like the blueprint of where the series would go. The music is still awesome. The art looks good, even if it isn't like the super sharp, high res art of the later games in the series. But yeah, it's still like a solid little fighting game. There really isn't like a ton to say about it.
This is one for the purists.
Yeah, this is definitely one for the purists. And yeah, coming out on, the Switch, it's like $10. Like, like, there's nothing wrong with it. It very much is what it is. Like, it is a port of that game from the mid-90s. Is it an essential game that you need to own? Not necessarily. Like, it's cool to check out once and be like, oh man, this is crazy because Faust is still called Dr. Baldhead and doesn't have the paper bag over his face. And, you know, Cliff ended up being in the game we'll talk about here in a second. But initially, you know, Cliff, with this character with a giant sword knife thing, wasn't in a lot of the earlier revisions of Guilty Gear X and Guilty Gear XX. It was like, oh man, there's this weird extra character in here who didn't show up again for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
So there's like a bit of novelty to it, but yeah, with just 10 characters, with kind of the smaller move sets, and without a lot of the modes, like, I don't see it being something that people are going to get like a ton of value out of, other than just like, you know, that kind of initial novelty of checking out and being like, oh man, it's Guilty Gear. But like before it's not, I was about to say it's like playing Fighting Street, you know, after playing Street Fighter 2, but it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the controls function in this game, but is that kind of, it is that thing where it's like, oh, okay, this, you know,
there's better options.
The best was definitely yet to come in the Guilty Gear series, for sure.
So $10 on the original Guilty Gear. What do you say?
Yeah. Deny it feels too harsh. It's more of like a, but, and it's not really a fuck it, why not? I mean, I guess it's literally a try. Like, you should try this game once, but you know, it's almost more of like you can skip it, but I think try it is, I guess, kind of where it lands ultimately, and that, you know, it's not something you need to own, but if, you know, you catch it on sale or whatever, you know, it's worth checking out like a little bit of.
The people who are treating their Switch as an arcade collection will probably be interested in it.
Sure. Yeah. If you want all the fighting games on there. But there's
indeed,
more.
There is more, because the next game to talk about is Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R, developed and published by Arc System Works.
What a name.
Seriously. This one also released May 16th on the Switch for $14.99. Coming back for more, the epitome of the 2D fighting game Guilty Gear XX series, the definitive piece, Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R, is now on Nintendo Switch. The duel returns. Tim, tell us about it. All
right. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is the one you're looking for. There's no Guilty Gear Zerd on Switch. I don't believe. You know, Dragon Ball Fighter Z is on there, but no Zerd. So this is, I guess, the most recent Guilty Gear game. Obviously, we talked about BlazBlue a few months ago, you know, kind of the follow-up series. But anyways, yeah, this is Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R. Whew! It is the final revision of the Guilty Gear X series, from Guilty Gear X to XX to Accent Core Plus, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, this has everything that you could want out of that series. Excuse me. So yeah, you have your high definition art. You have all of the characters. You have all these balance updates that have been made and tweaks over the years. You have tons of modes. You got your arcade modes, your versus modes. There's like team battles in here. You know, where each player will pick like 4 characters, I think. I don't know if you played like a lot of the earlier Tekken and Soul Calibur games, but they always had team battle modes, and that's always what me and my friends used to play. We used to just pick a random lineup and then go, you know, like 8v8. Yeah. So it's kind of like that, and it's a really fun way to play versus casually with your friends. It has, I think I mentioned, I shouldn't have gone off on that tangent there. Now I forgot what I mentioned and haven't mentioned. It has a mom mode. MOM, not sure what it stands for. It's some kind of. I was going to
ask, what is it?
It's a competitive score attack mode. I was playing on my lunch break at work, and then at the end of it, I went to check in to upload my unimpressive results online, and it couldn't find the internet. And I was like, oh, that's what's going on here. I get it. Yeah, there's survival mode. Like, all your fighting game modes are in there, you know. You have this big cast. Like, everybody has had, at this point, had their movesets pretty well fleshed out. They tons of balance changes. There's a lot more mechanics in Double X as opposed to Guilty Gear. They've added, the dust button. Characters have multiple super attacks and instant kill moves. Not multiple instant kill moves, just one. So yeah, it is a robust fighting game experience. And it looks great on the Switch. It plays great on the Switch. I should also mention, that Guilty Gear also does play well. It's an older game, but there was no hitching with that, and there's no hitching with this. They do run at their original resolution, so you have like little borders on the sides of the screens, which usually I hate, but I think in the case of Guilty Gear, where the character sprites are already so big, I don't feel like I'm squinting in to see what's going on. Like, it didn't really bother me. Yeah. But yeah, so it looks good. It runs nicely, nice and fast and in full frame. And it's, it has, online versus and leaderboards and all that stuff. It's a good little package. And like, man, if you haven't, I guess at this point, people picking up a Switch, maybe you haven't played any of the old Guilty Gears before. The Guilty Gear X series started in like 2000, which makes me feel incredibly old.
Yeah,
it's like I think of, I played Street Fighter 2 for 8 years, and then Guilty Gear felt like a newer fighting game. There was already like 3 or 4 iterations of like Samurai Showdown, and there was like all these sequels and stuff for my other kind of base fighting games. And it's like Guilty Gear. So Guilty Gear feels new, but oh wait, it's also 20 years old. And even this revision came out in 2012 initially. So yeah, it's an older game. And if you haven't played Guilty Gear, like I like Guilty Gear more than I like BlazBlue, which I had nice things to say about again a couple months ago on here, and failing to have Zerd on the Switch. And also with this being only $15, this seems like a pretty good grab if you're looking for Guilty Gear on your Switch.
So it seems like the original Guilty Gear is for the people who are looking to collect everything.
That's the purists, yeah.
And Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R is for the people who like long names.
Yeah, that too, yes.
Yeah.
And I love long names. I have there's 20 letters between my full name. So I dig it,
Nice. Well, Tim, always a pleasure having you on chatting about these games. Do you have any final words before we move on?
Breaking news. The E3 leak train is just leaky as fuck, but I just read that Namco kind of ruined a bunch of their surprises for this weekend. The only one which I'm going to mention is that apparently I had heard rumor of George R.R. Martin was working with some company on an RPG, and apparently it's From Software.
Yeah.
And fuck yes. I am down for that.
The best part is this review is going to be on after we talked about all the E3 stuff.
God damn it. Well, I'm excited. It just
so you could talk about whatever you want. All the leaks, we've already discussed them at this point.
Boo. It was, oh my God, E3. It was so bad. Well, you know what? Okay. Here's some E3 sealed envelope predictions. Sony will have a bad showing. It might still be better than last year's though. Just by them not showing up, it'll be better than last year. I think Microsoft is pretty much going to win almost by default. But there's
still Nintendo.
There is still Nintendo, and Nintendo could have a strong show. And they already did like some Pokemon stuff from Nintendo. We're probably going to see the newest character from Smash, whatever the next DLC character is. I think we're going to see. We'll get a lot more Animal Crossing from them. But Xbox, has been the only kind of like EA's not doing a press conference either, which is weird. But who cares? It was always bad. But yeah, it's like all these third parties that want to show something on a big stage. Like Microsoft is the only show in town, so I think they're probably going to have a hell of a show on Sunday. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited it's not during work hours, so I can give it my full attention.
All right, and finally we've got Chris Taylor joining. Chris, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Just looking forward to Final Fantasy VII coming out at last.
Yeah, finally next year.
They had a demo of it that came out in 1997, but I've been playing that thing for a long time. Can't wait for the actual game.
Oh, my Lord. What other E3 stuff are you looking forward to? Everyone else talked about E3, so might as well have you talk about E3 as well. What are you looking forward to?
Believe it or not, I've actually been kind of avoiding most of the news. Some people have been telling me stuff directly, and I've been like, oh, that's nice. And then forgetting like what they told me. I'm not an E3 person. I'm like, as soon as it shows up to pre-order, I pre-order it type person. Until then, I'm just like... There's too much to look forward to, and I don't like to pile looking forward to things after the things I'm already looking forward to come out.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but excited about Final Fantasy VII. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to that one too.
And I'm actually scrolling through my Twitter right now, and it's just Final Fantasy VII and Keanu Reeves and a dog and a lady.
What's the dog and lady?
Somebody brought out a dog. I don't know why. Don't know what he's about, but he's a cute dog. She. It's a cute dog. And there's a lady. She's a cute lady. She's like doing this dance thing. People are saying she's cool. I don't know what she's for. There's just pictures of her, and they're like, "This is great." And I'm like, I missed it all.
I wonder if it was during something I didn't watch, because there's just so much to watch. Yeah,
and apparently there's a Final Fantasy VIII thing coming out, but it's not like a total remake of it. It's just
it's like Final Fantasy VII and IX just recently got just a remaster. It's one of those.
They're doing them in order of people caring about them, rather than numerical order, which is interesting. It's an interesting approach.
Hey, whatever works for him, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I'm trying to find some more news. No, it's just Keanu Reeves is a person, and he's in a video game.
Yes, you are correct about that.
Huzzah.
Well, if you're not balls deep in E3, should we get started with your reviews?
Sure.
Awesome. You got 3 games to talk about. The first one is Bubsy Paws on Fire, developed by Choice Provisions, published by Accolade, released May 16th on PS4 and Steam for $24.99, coming out later this summer on the Switch. No word on an Xbox release, but I've been bugging Stemage about that like crazy, so hopefully something will come out there. From the developers of Bit Trip series comes Bubsy Paws on Fire, the latest and greatest in Bobcat-based gaming. Chris, tell us about it.
All right. Sorry, choked a little bit on latest and greatest. Because we've been clamoring for those Bubsy sequels ever since the utter. Well, okay, so let's talk about Bubsy for a second. Let's preamble this a little bit. Okay, so Bubsy had a couple of decent. He was a mascot platformer. He's a bobcat. That came out at a time when all the 16-bit systems, for indeed the systems that were current, were all 16-bit, mostly. He came out at a time where he was in competition with, Mario and, Sonic the Hedgehog kind of ushered in the animal mascots, had our awesome possum and,
Gex
the gecko, and later on Ty the Tasmanian devil. Tasmanian tiger, sorry. No insult to Ty the Tasmanian tiger.
Of course.
And yeah, they just kept coming and coming and coming. There's so many of them that, I would have to pull up a list, which I'm not doing right now. So but yeah, Bubsy came from Accolade and proceeded to have the attitude, kind of a stand-up comedian / washed-up actor attitude of just kind of went through a middling platforming adventure, I would say. And then for some reason, probably after the third, you had the 2 games that were okay, and then a third game came out exclusively for the Atari Jaguar, if you remember. That would be, And then after that, he went on a 3D foray onto the PlayStation at a time when nobody should have been trying to go 3D on the PlayStation.
Yes.
It was ambitious, and it didn't pan. Bubsy 3D was rated one of the 20 worst video games of all time by an actual publication.
Nice.
So, yeah, and really Bubsy's only crime was wrong place at the wrong time. He is too early for everything. And that was actually the last we heard about him until 2017, apart from a couple of remakes. So there was about a 20-year gap there. And then he came out from a different publisher a little while ago with the Woolly Strike Back on PlayStation 4, which is like still in print. So that tells you how recent his revival has been. And then there's this, which just now came out from a different developer than the last one, and it's in a different style. Having said, I think that criticisms of past Bubsy is fair. The fact that this game is being greeted with, like, I Googled this game because I was curious to see what other people were saying about it, and most people were like, no matter how you feel about Bubsy, he's out with a new game, or Bubsy has a new game whether you like it or not. Or like, Bubsy Paws on Fire, the sequel, literally nobody asked for.
Well, the previous one, what was it? Woolly Strike Back?
Yeah.
That one, wasn't it? It was panned in the reviews. Like, it was ravaged horribly. Yes. And so, again, Bubsy has not had a lot of good luck. He's a little bit like Nickelback. It's like Nickelback could write, produce, and perform the greatest song ever made. Just instant, as soon as you hear it, instantly tears well up in your eyes. And you were like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. But you can't tell anybody about it because it's been so popular to hate Nickelback for so long that no one will believe you. And even when they hear it, they'll pretend it didn't happen. So that's how I feel about this new Bubsy game. It is actually really good. That's leading up to saying that it's actually a really solid game that nobody can actually praise. Okay, so as opposed to the last game, and I suppose all the other games, I've actually not played the Jaguar one, believe it or not. Bubsy is now in the auto-running genre, which, coming from the developers of Runner, I think Bit Trip, I think that's apropos. I think the last one, no, it was Runner as well. They developed Runner. And Whoa Dave, actually, which is a game I really like. And so, now he is in the auto-running genre. So now you start levels, auto-running, and Bubsy has brought some friends along. He has brought a vole whose name escapes me. And he has, so Bubsy, runs through these levels. He's got these, what do they call them? The gato zapatos, the cat shoes in Spanish. Nice. And they make him run really fast, and sometimes light on fire, which everybody's wanted all along. Light Bubsy on fire? That's what people want. Yes. If you're doing well in the level, Bubsy catches fire. That's literally a thing that happens. I'm not making that up. So he runs through his level, and he has a jump and then a kind of float maneuver where he slowly floats down, kind of like Mario's new whatever animal suit in the Super Mario U game, which actually I just got on Switch, so I've been playing that too. Anyways, so he can float down, and the whole thing about it is to try and grab yarn, which is the mainstay. It's like Donkey Kong's bananas, Sonic's rings, Mario's coins. Bubsy has yarn because he's a cat. Yeah. Even though bobcats are feral and actually don't acclimate to home life very well and don't seem to care about yarn, Bubsy the bobcat is apparently addicted to the stuff. A little bit of animal knowledge there at play. So, you catch all the yarn, and, you just jump over all the things. If you bump into a thing and, the screen crushes you, or you run into spikes or explosions or enemies without jumping on their heads, then you die, and he makes a wisecrack, and then you just start over from the last checkpoint until you win. This is all, it's fairly standard runner fare. And then you get to play as the other character, who weirdly is not introduced in the story. You just pick him, and it's kind of like, where did this guy come from? There's no backstory to him. He's kind of a nerd, looks like a rat, but they say in some of the flavor text that he's a vole. And he has the standard issue double jump, and his levels move slightly faster. He's collecting some other MacGuffin, and his levels are considerably harder
than Bubsy's. And then you get to play as the third character, which is one of the aforementioned Woolies, I suppose. It's a general lady kind of thing who flies a UFO spaceship type thing. And her levels are actually shmups. So you fly around. Yeah, you fly around and you shoot things, and sometimes you get the double shots, basic shmup stuff. The thing is that you can play every single level as all three characters. So the game ends up having you replay every level 3 times, and it actually just sets up the levels slightly differently to accommodate each character that you play as. And once you have beaten any one stage with all 3 characters, then it unlocks a 4th bonus stage, which you play as, I think his name is Arnie the Armadillo, something like that. Just another animal mascot that I don't know why we didn't get him in the 90s. But those bonus stages are done from a behind the back view in a 3D way. Think about like the bonus stages to Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah.
Where, you're running down the pipe and you have to collect the rings and avoid the dangers. The dangers in this game, of course, being farts.
Oh, of course.
You're literally dodging farts and trying to grab, I think they're like green emeralds or something like that. I kind of forgot. So that's 4 different characters that you can play, for every single level. So getting through this game, you actually, there's like 10 levels per world. Not sure how many worlds there are, but it seems like it's a handful. There's quite a lot of content in this game. It took me I spent a good couple hours just on the first world, which, that's pretty good stuff. Mm-hmm. The thing is, all 4 characters and their different playstyles are all very fun. I really like Bubsy's. It's a little bit easier. I have yet to actually really get killed very much on his stages. Got killed millions of times on the nerdy, rodents stages. And then I pretty much rocked all the shmup stages.
Shocking.
And then, And then there are these cool boss fights that either have you platforming in a clever way, or one of them is, you do a UFO dogfight, shmup style again. And, all of this to say the actual graphics of it are really, really nice. Like, clearly a lot of actual care went into this. The actual, the game cinematics and its writing and everything, it's very much Bubsy. If you've ever seen Bubsy, I mean, he does the wisecracks and stuff. This game, is very fourth wall breaking. I think he puts on the shoes and he's like, I haven't felt this good since Bubsy 1. Things like that. So the game's very self-aware. So if you try to hate it, then you're the fool, because this game knows what it is. No, it looks really good. And of course, as we all know, I guess the elephant in the room as far as this game goes is that the entire soundtrack was done by our beloved Grant Henry, aka Stemage.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've heard this soundtrack, but it's incredible.
Yeah, we played a couple on the show the other how many episodes ago? I don't know, a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, I think
there's a number there.
It got released a little while ago, I think. But he did a really, really good job on this game, and I would say that it was beneath him to do so, but actually playing the game, I was like, no, this game's actually really good, and the soundtrack matches. So I went in, not especially, I'm not a Bubsy hater, far be it for me to say. I mean, I like some games that are actual garbage. I unironically enjoy Wally Bear and the No Gang on the NES. But having said, I actually think that this is a game this is a good direction, I think, for the Nickelback of animal mascot characters from the 90s. I would actually like to see more stuff like this from, when they revive these characters. Sort of like how, Sonic Mania sort of brought Sonic out of that weird funk of they didn't quite know what to do with him.
Yeah.
And like I said, Bubsy was a long dormant sleeping god of 90s gaming references. So it's nice to see that he's kind of coming into something that I think is genuinely enjoyable.
Awesome. So overall, $25 on Bubsy Paws on Fire. What do you say?
Well, of course, the $25 seems a little steep, but in fact, this is a game, I believe it has a physical release that's out already for only like $29. So, yeah, if you buy this game on the disc or download it, whatever's your usual thing to do. I usually buy these on discs. 29 and 24 for sure. I mean, it's a fully fledged game. It's serious business. And I would actually recommend that you also go and get the soundtrack. I think Materia Collective put it out. Get the soundtrack independently as well and check it out because it is super good.
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp and I'm sure other places as well, but I know for sure it's on Bandcamp.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm going to be downloading it this week. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of music, the next game to talk about is called Chime Sharp, developed and published by Chilled Mouse, released May 28th on the Switch for $9.99. Connect pieces to fill the level. Your choices make new music with every play. It's a puzzle, a synthesizer, and a fast game all in one. Chris, tell us about Chime Sharp.
Chime Sharp. Is it a synthesizer? I didn't see that. I don't know what that means.
Well, just in the rhythm gameplay where every piece you put is new music.
Okay. I guess so.
A hypothetical synthesizer.
Okay. I'll take that. Okay, so Chime Sharp is it's a puzzle game that is going to look very familiar to fans of the Tetris and the Hatris and the Pipetris. No, Pipe games.
Oh my
Hatris. Wordtris. And that's actually more like Scrabble, I guess. Anyway, the various trisses. This is a puzzle game in the old style, in that you are manipulating blocks of blocks, shapes made of blocks, into a field wherein you try to get them connected and then disappeared for score and to extend the timer on the level, which is automatically set to 2 minutes. Or initially set to 2 minutes. Now, the difference here is that the blocks do not fall. You are just handed the block and an empty field, and you just place it wherever you wish. Anytime that the blocks in whatever arrangement you have made equals a 3x3 grid or larger, as long as it's a consistent square, that is to say 4x4, 5x5, etc. Well, no, that's not quite right, because you can expand the length of it.
So rectangle shaped.
Rectangle shapes, yes. Or squares. But, whatever direction you expand it in, as long as there's enough pieces, they can't turn into any other shape but rectangles. Once you do that, then, there's a bar that sweeps across the screen, apparently in time with the music. The music, sometimes it takes a while for the beat to drop, so I wasn't exactly sure what rhythm I was supposed to be listening for. And I really didn't pay attention to it because, it's just one of those things where you kind of just start dropping stuff and making squares as quick as you can, because the more that you make, the more score you get, and again, the more timer gets expanded. But more importantly, the ultimate goal of the stage is to cover as much of the field as possible. So the only way to cover the field, essentially, is to create a square over it. And the bigger the square gets, all the parts, all the blocks on the field that are occupied by a square, which, again, the bar comes through and makes them disappear after a while. So you have like a while, you have a set time in order to build up these squares before they disappear. They don't do it instantly. That then, it'll show that the square's like colored in and, that part of the field's done. And so you just move on to a different part of the field. And if you get to the magic number, which is 60% of the field covered, then you get to unlock a new difficulty, which, just makes the whole thing go faster. And of course, the timer, is less your friend. So it goes from being like this kind of calm and serene thing, because, the music is generally very calm, or, it just takes a while for it to kind of turn into like something that's more like beat driven and electronic. So, you kind of like, it goes from being calm to being very panicky very quickly. And the shapes that they give you are bizarre. None of the standard tetriminos, tetriminos. I don't know. None of the 4x4, different iterations of, just 4 squares. This one, they could be 7 squares, 8 squares. They could be, a lot of them look like a bunch of Tetris pieces that were just kind of melted together. And you just kind of have to figure out what you do with them. And they vary from level to level. So you actually don't quite know once you get into the level what you're dealing with. So it's kind of a thing of like, just instead of doing the Tetris thing and like planning however many pieces you can ahead and, just basically using strategy. In this one, you're more using speed and sort of guesswork, I would say. And so the whole thing was like, it kind of took me a little while to like kind of realize that was what was going on, because the game gives you very little in the way of instructions. Because I was like, am I doing a bad thing by leaving all these pieces on the board that aren't made into squares? Because I'm trying to make as many squares as possible. Turns out that's not quite the thing. You just leave the pieces there and they sweep it up. Like, I don't know, like eating at Wingstop or something. Like, just leave your chicken wings there. They'll clean them up. But only actual fully formed squares will cause the field to actually work into your favor. And yeah, it's just basically as you go, every time you play a level on the standard mode, which is, just basic stuff. Like, you can do practice mode, which is extremely forgiving, and then standard mode, which is just, the way they meant you to play it. Every time you basically play through it and, play for a while, like, I couldn't get it not to unlock a new level for me every time. And I think there's 16 levels in total. And yeah, they have interesting soundtracks. We got the likes of Chip Zell, who I've heard of. Got Chvrches. I don't know how you pronounce their name. It's Churches. With a V instead of a U. You got them, and you got a couple other people. The songs are catchy, I think. Not really my genre, but certainly pleasant to listen to. But, the only real criticism I have of the game is I never really quite figured out where the music ties into the game. Like, as far as I could tell, it's just like, this is just the music you're listening to for this stage. And then, the bar goes across pretty regularly, and I didn't really connect that with any kind of beat that was going on in the music. So the rhythm game part of it was a little lost on me. But as a puzzle game, it's actually pretty fun, and it's an interesting take on the Tetris genre.
Well, then overall, $10. What do you say?
Well, $10. I mean, that sounds fair. This one, I mean, again, I'm a little confused as to how to recommend it. Besides to say that it's a new experience for people who like the sort of blank slate that is like a Tetris game. Like, there's no real personality to it or anything like that. It's just a thing that you do with your mind that makes you smarter, And for people who enjoy that, this is definitely a unique take on it. You're never going to play another Tetris game that's exactly like this. So if that sounds worth the price of admission, then for sure I recommend it. For everyone else, I just say approach with caution.
All right. Sounds good. Final game to talk about tonight. Final game. Thank God. Final game. It's been a long one. Neon Junctions, developed by Nine Eyes Game Studio, published by Ratalaika Games, released June 4th on PS4, 5th on Xbox One, 7th on the Switch for $4.99. Neon Junctions is a first-person puzzle platformer imbued with the atmosphere of synthwave and 80s. Plunge into cyberspace and try to overcome 34 levels capable to challenge not only your savvy, but also dexterity. Chris, tell us about Neon Junctions.
Okay, Neon Junctions. Well, this is like they say, a puzzle game that is presented in first person, which is interesting. Actually, we hardly ever see first person puzzle games that feature full movement 3D, things like certain video games of note that I usually mention in my reviews at least once, Skyrim. So, first off, I have to get this out of the way immediately because this is the first thing I did in the game. It does have an option to invert the Y-axis. So
Thank
we're safe.
God.
Yes. It's not triggered by default, But that is, that's...
But there's an option. That's enough.
There is an option. You can correct the controls to be the right way. So that's high marks for this game because usually when dealing with a lower priced first person game, they don't throw that in there, and that's very frustrating.
No, I know.
I can't remember the one I reviewed recently that was like that, but still mad at it. Anywho's, so yeah, this one has you roaming around a kind of purple and blue and black, like, when you see people making fun of synthwave, this is like the kind of imagery they use. In fact, if you do look up at the moon in the skybox, then you will see that it has the lines through the bottom part of it, like the Miami sunset kind of thing. And just like, okay, whatever. And it does indeed play calming, like, kind of pensive synthiness. Not sure exactly what to call it. They call it synthwave. I'll go with that. So the point of the game is that basically you have to, you pick up blocks that are available in the game. There'd be shiny light blue blocks, and then you have to find a current somewhere in the level which is bright orange. And the current is like basically kind of like electricity, and these boxes are conductors. So you have to set a box on top of the part of the orange line that you want to connect to the other part, and then every block that you attach directly to that block then conducts the orangeness. I suppose it's the power. And your goal is to use all the blocks available in the level in order to not only create a connection between all of the orange bits, or between the orange bit that you start with and the orange bit you're trying to get to. And of course, when you get to the end of that orange bit, that takes you out of the level. It basically activates a teleporter to the next level. Mm-hmm. You're not only using the blocks to do that, oftentimes you're also using the blocks to build parts of the level that are missing that allow you to basically platform your way into inaccessible areas. So in that sense, it's a little bit, I don't know what the puzzle game part of it's like. It's familiar, but I can't think of a title right now. And then the rest is kind of like, Minecraft, where you just can place the block wherever and then use it for your platform. Mm. And it just basically starts you off with a nice easy tutorial level where they explain things really well, and then you just keep moving on through levels, and I guess at the end of 36 of them you're done. Like I said, I appreciate that early on they had you doing things like building bridges alongside walls while also keeping the connective line going. So you can pick up to like 40 blocks, and at least in the early levels that you can use, and sometimes there are extras, so you can kind of have more than one way to go about the thing. Oftentimes the current is really fractured, so you kind of have to connect pieces at a time, and you kind of have to just decide as you go which piece to connect in order to get the most efficient path. There's a lot of thought that went into the level design in here, and it's got an extremely simple interface. It's one button to pick up, one button to set down, and then you just run and jump and look around. And apart from that, it's just like figuring out the puzzle part of it in a very tactile way that I quite appreciated.
Awesome. So overall, $5 on Neon Junctions. What do you say?
Well, $5 is a very easy price point to recommend something that's clever, and I think this game is very clever. Don't go in expecting a first-person shooter or adventure game, because it is not one. It's just first-person is the format in which they decided to make their puzzle game, and I kind of appreciate that aspect of it, because again, it's rarer to see that done effectively, and I think this game actually does that pretty effectively. And at $5, it's basically why not? Yeah. Kind of thing. But yeah, this piques your interest, and it's good, and it gets advanced really fast, so it'll get the builder in you to use your brain.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, well, that is it for this monstrous long-ass episode. Chris, thank you as always for coming on, doing your thing. Thanks to Tim for coming on and doing his reviews. Thanks to Jacob for coming on, doing his review. Thanks to Pernell for coming on, doing his reviews. And to Pernell and Cole for doing the E3 wrap-up. I told you this was a long one. So I don't know what our final clock time is, but I'm going to wrap things up with just one song from the One-Ups, Secret of the Forest from Chrono Trigger. I figure it's a good calm one to end things and wrap up the show.
Fantastic.
Chris, do you have any final words to end it?
Everybody go to bed. The show's over.